I got
It's
it.
with
Yeah.
an E in the middle.
Tianenmen. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, you
Oh yeah,
guys.
man,
Did you send
fucking
Coop
man.
our list? I'm gonna send Coop the list real
No,
quick.
yeah, you sent him the list, but Manny suggested that
I
he's
don't
trying to
I
get.
don't know if I
He's
don't know that I saw the
crazy.
list, guys. I
I'm
mean,
gonna send it to you right now, Coop, in your
No, I
okay.
didn't
DMs
send it
on
to you.
Facebook. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Let me check it out. You
Oh,
guys
let
got
me.
a list of
I don't
topics?
think we're friends on here.
Oh, you're probably right.
Okay, let me see if I can find it.
Here, I'll send it to us.
It's not
Here you are,
a
Coop.
it's a list. I mean, it's a list technically, but
Mhm.
Yeah,
it's
it's
more of
just
like what insane things we've been talking about all week
it's
in
a
our chat group.
synopsis of our group chat. Just like some of the funnier things that, or the not even funny things, just things that got a lot of traction in our group chat.
Sounds good.
But then it doesn't have to go. Sometimes Manny will be like checking them.
Yeah, we'll get into a few of them and then mostly are you
We're
gonna
gonna
send
listen
it
to
or
Coop
what?
talk. Oh,
Or
I sent it to I sent it to Coop.
oh, okay, cool. But and we're going to get into some like a serious topic about what we were talking about during the happy hour about military, just military life, I guess.
I have not received a. Oh, there it is. New message request. I see it. Let's see here.
Did
Got
Tim
it.
Waltz descend from Vikings? I'm
The
sorry. That's
fruitier
that's a really a
one.
low. That's a low blow. It's a
I
low
shit
blow.
things bigger and tougher than him. Tampon Tim calling himself a knucklehead. That was awesome.
So
Russ and I talked
good.
a little bit about
Damn,
that
that guy,
yesterday.
like we could spend 2 hours talking about that guy's lies that like would really make you angry.
Yeah.
Oh
Dang,
hell yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
pimp hand. Kamala's pimp hand man.
So
Isn't
good.
that a crazy story? Oh,
I have not. I
imagine,
Wow, that is a crazy story. It doesn't
Matt,
surprise me.
imagine running for president, and then that's when you're running for president. That's when you find out that your husband has a pimp hand. And like this is like
You know what? It's
is like
probably better than finding out, like, in front of a club that your husband has a pimp man.
Or like over a sandwich in the kitchen.
if you're the recipient. You're right.
Bro,
If you're
you know
if you're
what?
the actual recipient of the pimp hand,
Been there, done that. And yeah, you're right. Oh my God.
that's way worse.
Way worse. Facts. I can testify.
Yeah, these are all great. These are all great. Good stuff.
Let's see. Endless Ranters. We are live.
Oh. The content of this meeting is being sent to a third party.
I'm trying
Or
to.
did it say we're live? Yeah,
I'm doing it
right.
right now. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Ugh. I didn't
Is
even
it?
think anything of it when I put this sweatshirt on tonight, but I guess it's kind of appropriate.
Love it. Is that
It's too
Liberty
hot
University?
here for
Hell yeah.
sweatshirts. I have a brand new sweatshirt that I want to say that I bought that says I'm on voice rest, so I don't have to talk to people when I go to the grocery store. And it's been 100 degrees since it's got every day since it arrived. Every single day it's been 100.
Yo, I don't miss that.
Every day I'm so grateful. I'm thankful I'm cheap because every day I see like 10 t-shirts I would want to buy.
I
If I
know, me
was
too.
20, if I was 20 years old, I'd be like, I'm buying that.
You
Oh,
might want to you
like
might want to
me.
go over to two grumpy bastards
You're
merchandise.com.
right, I should.
Oh, you have merch? Oh, you know what?
Hell yeah.
You've inspired me, Coop. I need to make some damn merch. We've tried to, you know what? I'm gonna do that.
Hell yeah, we have merch. My favorite are the whiskey glasses that I put together. Those are beautiful. They're a
Okay.
little pricey, but
Hmm.
You know what? You're worth it.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, we got
your
some nice
show is
stuff over there.
great. I'm gonna
I'm
hit
gonna
record so we can start and then get into the meat.
oh excuse me.
Let me see. Where are we? What time is it?
It's Friday. It's
Okay,
Friday,
three, two,
Craig.
one. Good evening, Endless Ranters. Welcome back for episode 200 and something of your Endless Ranters podcast. We do what we want and we appreciate your support. My name is Chris. I'm one of your hosts for this evening. I'm a mostly peaceful dad from North Texas, and I'm joined by one of our other hosts. It's a crunchy mom living in a soggy mom's world and a Maxwell House wife.
It's me,
It's Quana.
brother.
How you doing?
Happy Friday. I'm excited.
It is Friday. I
Crossover.
just like to point it out that it's Friday.
Yeah, same.
Just like when I point that out.
Yeah.
It's
Sometimes
a
I think it's
disclaimer.
Friday when it's not Friday, but today is really Friday.
The man with the plan, producer Manny.
How's life?
What's going on, Mole Man? Has a birthday party for a family member, so he's not here tonight. But we are honored to welcome a very special friend of ours. It's Coop from the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast. It's on YouTube. It's on all your favorite platforms. You should go see it. You should go buy his whiskey glasses.
Yes, merch.
That's a Morgan Wallen song, even. You should buy his whiskey glasses. But they're real glasses, not like at a bar, like drunk at a bar glass. Well, I don't know. Are they like, do you sell actual drunk at a bar glasses to wear to like, you should put those on at 1:30, when
Good
things are getting
Lord,
a little,
that's a great idea. That is such
things are getting a little bit, you feel a little, like, I don't want to be lonely tonight kind of a thing.
Wow.
You put those glasses on and they just turn 4s into 5s and
straight
I think I could write.
it.
I think I could write a country song called Whiskey Goggles. I really think I could.
Hey, you get those whiskey goggles Pro Max 16s and they will turn a 4 into an 8. But
Nice.
if you get like the cricket version of that, 4s into 5s only.
I think I'll just sell a bunch of blue blockers and just lie to people.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait until
blocker.
I'm just gonna wait till I enter the nursing home scene as the young hot thing.
Head dick in charge. HDS.
Those places get wild.
Yeah.
I'm
you
trying
to talk my father-in-law into going. He won't go. I'm like, you don't understand.
Yeah, he's kind of like, it's like,
brother.
why? Tell him, like, why do you need to travel when you have all these targets in a concentrated area? Like, I know your father-in-law's a player.
Yeah.
Her father-in-law's a player.
He figured out how to get prostitutes to come to his house from his phone. Like, he like dials, gets them to come to the house. At 8, he'll be 86 this month in a couple days.
What, do they come over and do the dishes?
No.
Change the bedpan.
He's a ladies' man. He likes to take care of the ladies that come over.
I'll be god darn. I bet you.
It's a different era.
How much does he spend a month on Blue Chew? I wonder.
He gets robbed. Sometimes they rob him.
I was gonna say, yeah.
There's been ones that they're like, I gotta go get my oils.
There's
lay
a
down.
risk.
I'm gonna
There's a
rub
risk
ya.
factor.
They
Yeah.
leave. They take the money. But there's the ones that come in and are like, oh, really?
That's
You're gonna
wonderful.
pay me to do that?
That's wonderful.
Hello, sir. They go to the
I
Red
just
Lobster.
I really love seeing people make decisions based on the results that they're getting. And it's like, he's just like, I got robbed a few times, but it's not going to slow me down.
Risk reward. He's not a quitter.
I'm still going to roll those dice. Like,
my friend Sarah that comes to the happy hour, we took her to brunch the other day and I told her, Wilson, he's a character. And she came in full, like, guns ablazing. She hugged him, like, put her big old titties around his head and, like, shook into him. And she's like, she pulled back. She's like, oh, full frontal. He was so embarrassed. Like, he's like, I have never had a woman take my breath away like her. He wanted her number.
Hold on. Who did you introduce her to?
My friend Sarah that comes to the happy hour. We've been friends since, like,
I know Sarah, but
grade,
who did she meet? Who did she do this to?
Bill's dad. Because we go to brunch with him every Sunday. So I just invited her because, he's lonely and she's funny. And I told her,
now, Sarah's okay, right? She's not hard. She's not like needing money or anything like that.
No. I mean, but it's $300. And what are you going to do? Anyway.
I say, like, are you a trafficker now? Like, I don't know.
No, I'm not. I'm
okay.
kidding. She's so funny though. She had him so embarrassed. He was like flustered. He was in love. He's like, "Can I have her number?" And Bill's like, "Dad, she's a married woman." Like, no, you
Oh,
can't
okay,
have her
good.
number.
Good. All right, good job. Good job.
Yeah. Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, good. Hey, how you doing? What's up?
Not that
Hey,
Sarah. Sarah with an H. I have
hey,
two
Sarah,
Sarahs
What?
that listen.
it's just Sarah. It's Coop Dog 4907 at. I'm kidding. Kidding.
What, Sarah? What? I'm confused.
Yeah.
But
No,
your
I
dad,
and like
your
you tell my
father-in-law's a
friends about.
legend. He's a
Yeah, he's a
legend.
legend. 86 this month.
God damn.
Going strong.
He's like I'm thinking like I picture like kind of like the King of Queens and like Jerry Stiller. Remember the dad in
Exactly,
that show?
exactly.
And he was
Full
just
head of
he was out
hair, full
there.
head of luscious hair,
Oh
gray,
yeah.
gray, beautiful hair.
He was
Yeah.
out there like he was 18 again.
Yes. Got his cute little shirts on, his little
Yeah.
shoes. Just that has his gait is perfect. Walks like a
Oh
35.
yeah, yeah. Strut, like a
Perfect
little strut
gait.
maybe.
Yep. Even a little
Nice.
strut. Yep. Yeah, he's adorable. And also a you know, you know.
All right. So it's Friday night. We are, what is the date? 10. It's 10-4, good buddies.
It is 10-4, good
Holla.
buddy.
Shout out to Pat too, one of our buddies, one of our group members and friends and fans of the show.
Yes.
But let's get into some topics. I mean, a lot. So it's like if you don't do a daily podcast, so much happens. Do you guys feel like you guys feel kind of understand
Yes.
what I'm talking about? Coop.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Like,
we just released our latest podcast and YouTube video on the vice president. We had a bunch of different topics, but we
yeah,
concentrated on the Vance Walls debate. And it's like this is already old news. People have already moved on from this, and it
right.
it, it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
Although we present such amazing definitive analysis
that's
that
true.
it's timeless. But we do try to keep it topical and all that. I mean, and we talked about Israel, Iran, and all that. But yeah, no, Russ and I are busy guys, and Russ has a full-time family and full-time job. I don't. I'm retired and I got two dogs. But even I get overwhelmed sometimes, and it's like there's too much in the news cycle right now.
Yeah,
I can't handle this today. I just can't.
yeah.
And I
You're
process
not alone.
information well, but do you guys ever feel that way? It's like there's just too damn much in the news cycle on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Intentional.
well, first of all, to your show, again, two grumpy bastards. You guys do keep it really tight, like and timeless because you can like I mean, you can't listen to your show a month from now, but you could listen to it 4 or 5 days later and get a really good, you know, synopsis of what happened. So yeah, yeah, you guys are very disciplined in that matter. In that, and yeah, so
Thank you.
say applaud you
Big
in that way
fans.
because yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, we're not keeping it tight over here.
As I said, we do what we want. We appreciate your support, and if we don't have your support, we don't really, So,
You
but
don't want to laugh along. You can.
yeah, yeah, always have one chambered.
That's right.
So yeah, so the debate happened. The VP debate happened.
Mhm.
Tim Walz looked like a knucklehead. He actually said he was a knucklehead.
That he's a knucklehead.
The dude lied, just like it's real. Like I don't like not to get into the specific lies he tells, but just like the plethora of lies that he
Yeah.
about everything from like his children's the way they were conceived
Yeah.
to his military service to like being a coach that took a team from 0-27 to state champs when he was like an assistant coach for a special team. Like
I like
just
how you
I
said
saw
you
that
didn't
movie.
want to say specific.
Every coach
I
is
saw that
important.
movie.
Yeah, every coach is important, but it's like we know like that's weird to
Yeah.
kind of say that. Like so much he bragged about. Well, first of all,
Mhm.
why would any American politician brag about how many times they've been to China? He was saying
Yeah, that's weird. That's just
he
really
was
weird.
right.
Yeah.
He was lying and saying I've been to China 30 times and he's been to China like 15 times when he was pressed on it. And he was like, they were like, show us the records. And he was like, well, I've been there half 15. It's like, why would anybody lie it? Like, that's weird. It's pathological. It's it's not any of the specific lies that are doozies. It's the whole, this guy just can't stop
Do you say it's
making
because
shit
he's
up.
from a small town?
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Nebraska and rural Nebraska where they have stoplights and street corners and whatnot. Like,
Just makes you lie.
yeah,
He's
Makes you
the
proud of
streets are
lie,
that dude.
clean.
Brooke.
He's proud of that dude riding his bike until the sun goes down or the lights come
Yeah,
on.
it's like, I
Right.
come from a place where the streets are clean. Like, okay, all right.
That's
Sounds
what, well,
good.
let's, what, Kamala's, what did she talk about? Everybody having a yard, like she grew up with a yard,
Oh, yeah, where she came, well, I mean,
where she came from, people took care
Hers
of
I
their
was
mean,
a
what
yard.
plantation. It was an
she
actual
came,
plantation, but okay.
she came from a middle class family plantation. She came from a middle class family mansion in Montreal, the Canadian speaking territory of
Oh
uh,
my God, St.
Canada.
Michael.
Uh,
I didn't
but
say
Oh,
that because she's
that's what she
from
said.
This
it.
is
She was
now.
Because
saying,
she
like, I
said
came from,
it's from that.
and then she said, where she's like, where people cared about their lawns, like, I care about my lawn and I kind of hate you. Like, how about,
Yeah.
When I grew up on a 5-acre farm in a logging town out in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific Northwest, and we had a lawn that was an acre. Like the front acre was lawn, and the back 4 were for the cattle and pigs and everything else. I had to mow that fucking thing with a push mower that was from the 1950s. It was actually a two
mm,
cycle, and it didn't have a yank. You had to wrap a cord around it and then pull, and then
Nice.
you
oh,
had to rewrap the
yeah.
cord around it and pull. It was a two
Yeah.
cycle. Yeah, that's how I mowed that bad boy. And I
That
Nice.
was
actually,
like, I remember my dad was like real into lawnmowers and like fixing lawnmowers when I was a kid. And I remember like, I have vague memories of that kind of
oh yeah,
stuff being around. Yeah.
that was the one that my dad insisted I mow the lawn with because my dad liked me a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, but I ran over my foot with that very lawnmower and broke almost every bone in my right foot. Didn't
Oh
chop
my
any
God.
toes off, but
I
yeah,
can't believe you said that
yeah.
because I have a story. I have a story.
I'm sorry, I
This
did
is
not mean to get into a
no,
two
no, this is where the no,
bastards
this is
petty.
where the lack of discipline really kicks in. Trust me.
I apologize. You can
Uh,
tell me to shut the f up anytime. It's
no,
fine.
no, no. I'm going to tell you all when I was so what I'm told. My parents divorced when I was young, but I'm told that my dad had a big lawn in this house that I was born in, and I'm told that there was a neighborhood kid mowing the lawn, and he pushed his lawnmower up a
It sounds.
hill.
This sounds like a Springsteen song a little bit from like.
It con well, like a Springsteen slash
It
Texas
was a lawn that we
Chainsaw
mowed.
Massacre
We
type
were
thing.
born in.
And like I guess he slipped and he fell backwards.
Oh
And the
shit!
lawnmower, like this was a kid that like my parents were paying to mow his lawn, like from the neighborhood, and like the lawnmower ran over his foot, cut his foot off, and threw it in the yard, and they never found it.
Oh my
Now,
god!
now what I have to like as an adult, like the never found it part is probably like the kind of the clue that was bullshit. Like because it's like, how do you
Never
not
found
find
it.
a foot? It wasn't that big a yard,
But
and
it,
they
it
can't
went
throw a
700 meters from the
Yeah,
property.
they found Lorena Bobbitt's
yeah. So it's
tack
like, but
job.
like that was a story, and I tell my kids that story to this day, and they
But it
tell
happened to
my
Coop
mom,
and it happened to my stepson. He got his foot run over
Oh,
by a
really?
lawnmower too.
yeah.
Oh, I'm
But
sorry.
like,
It was
but
bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
the reason I believe this
Yeah.
story is because when I was in elementary school, when I was in like the first grade, there was a fifth grader who had like a prosthetic foot. And this is like in 19.
Oh, geez, that's sad.
Yeah.
I know it is, but this is like, that's why I believed it. And they live like 4 houses down.
Oh, so that's maybe
And there
why
was
he
also
didn't have his foot if he
no,
lost
And
there
then
was
it.
also
one
no,
day I
but
was on the
at a
swing and I
young
looked down
age,
and there's a foot.
at a young age, there was also a weirdness. Like even though we lived that, there was a weirdness that I sensed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Oh,
they live.
blamed
Why
your
aren't these
house.
kids my age that go to my school like over here? Because we're all. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But it was
Another,
sad because this was like prosthetic foots in like 1979 or
yeah,
something
they were
like
all like
that.
wooden with like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
A lot of
like
metal.
a weird hinge looking fucking thing on them and shit.
Yeah.
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 You
I
know,
would have
no
made,
one wants to wear shorts more
did
than somebody with like a
everybody call him
prosthetic leg,
Flipper?
though. Honestly.
I
I'd have called him
didn't. I
Flipper.
didn't because I was convinced that like it was
Would have
our
done that.
fault. Like
Yeah.
this
So here's a
dude's
true
foot was in my
story.
lawn somewhere. Like I
Here's
was
a
like,
true story that happened to me. We used to put our hay in loose. I don't know if you know what that means, but you don't use a baler. You just use pitchforks and you put it in the back of a trailer and then you put it in the barn the same way. And then my job was to walk around in a circle and sprinkle salt and then keep tamping it down when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old until I was big enough to actually, do the other stuff after my brother and sister left, and it was all up to me to do the entire farm. True story. So I fell off the haystack one time and I fell onto the handle of a pitchfork and it went partially up my butt. It ripped through my crappy little Keds jeans or whatever they were, or tough skins. It went partially up my butt. And that was the day that I realized that I was a heterosexual.
Straight into it.
Nice. Very young.
Right
very
into
young.
his butthole.
Like,
here we are.
I like girls. I like girls.
Even if, like, I'm thinking, even if he did go the other way, you'd be like corrected, like, nah.
Yeah, at least there's no splinters with Jose back here.
Yeah, you'd be like, no, can't.
Oh my God, sorry. I don't know why I used a Spanish name there. That was a little racist of me, but I should have said Bruce or Carl or something. I don't know.
There was a time where Spain ran the world, wasn't there not? No, so it's like
Jose felt right. It felt right in that moment. That's all I'm going to defend myself.
I'm not sure why we have to feel bad for them. Like you might feel bad for other South American countries of Hispanic origin, whatever, but like Spain kind of, they did their thing for a long time,
Oh, they in a lot of their exploits, they made the Viking look downright like a glee club.
Mm-hmm.
And me being,
but they were romantic about it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It like sounded sexy when they were
Antonio Banderas accent.
Yeah, they were like, I'm going to destroy your entire empire. Yeah, they were like, we're going to bring you the measles and the.
We're going to take all your gold and ship it home.
But do you, look at my hair? It's fabulous. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it transcends time.
Yeah. Was that racist what I just did? I can't ever tell.
Why are you asking me? Because I'm
brown. I never know where the line is. Well, I mean, you two are people of color.
Probably the most racist people you've ever met.
Yeah, I have a free pass.
I'm so white, I'm whiter than Casper's ass in January. I have absolutely no color in me whatsoever.
Yeah, you kind of have a free pass too, because you just have to like dive into it and own it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you were like, oh, I love my, like I love eat Indian food and curry, and they'd be like, oh man, come on.
Well, I mean, I do.
Stop.
I do.
Yeah, but you can't say it because it looks.
No, I can't say it. And when I was stationed at Fort Hood and when I lived in Texas, I loved Mia Senorita. Oh my God, yes, I had a thing for the senoritas. Absolutely, for the Latinas. Yes, I admit I did. But if I say that now, it'd be more like,
I want a new.
Did you love them to like what? Make you a sandwich and wash your dishes? And I'm like, no, I just was really into it. I thought they were really attractive.
I think there was a time when I was growing up in like suburban America, like late 70s, early 80s, where there was just, I think what you would call that is like just like dudes that like in my neighborhood, like we like thought that exotic women were like, that was like different. Yeah. Right. So it was like Raquel Welch when she in a jungle suit or whatever the hell she was in, or fucking Maria Conchita Alonso and in the Running Man.
Charo.
In a goddamn jungle suit.
Charo and Love Boat was like, I look at that now, I'm just like, what the? I mean, but it's like, but then I was like, oh, look at that.
I'm turning red. Different. Look, I'm turning red. Oh, Raquel Welch might be the most attractive woman who's ever lived, in my opinion. I'm just saying, she might be. She's in the discussion. I
wish there was a way to measure at the time that those women like that were at their height of their power, like what kind of power they had. Like if there was a way to like measure that in like nuclear, like some kind of nuclear, I mean, I'm not a scientist, but like, how they measure like, what do they measure to like find out how old? Stop letting me dangle here. How do they measure how old something is?
An attractive woman's power?
Are you talking about the half-life or the carbon-14?
Yes, but not like today on October 4th, 2024. I actually have
a physics degree and a biology degree, so do you want
me to I'm trying to compare like Jennifer Aniston in like 1994 with Welch in 1968.
Oh, Welch smokes her 10 times to Sunday.
Probably. Yeah. I'm saying there should be like
like if maybe like Adriana Lima or somebody like that come in, in the recent days. I don't know, she had all of it. Like she was voluptuous, she was gorgeous, she had different eyes, her hair was dark, like
Because it is a factor of like
What nationality
the
was she? Do we
look.
know? Portuguese?
I don't know.
Raquel Welch.
Yeah.
She was Welsh. I have
Was
no
she?
idea. I just
But
made
you
that
know,
up.
they made her look exotic, and like what I'm picturing, they made her look kind of
Sure.
exotic, right?
Yeah,
Like
she's probably like from Michigan or something.
because they wouldn't hire
Alexa,
like
what
a they
nationality
wouldn't.
was Raquel Welch?
I'm I'm
Raquel
Google.
was born in the United States in 1940.
Yeah.
Just a regular American.
Oh,
US
thanks,
white
thanks,
lady.
Alexa. You suck. Raquel Welch. Let's see. What is her
But it's like
national?
it really needs to be measured by like by the time, like the time that that person was in, and like
Yeah,
what kind of like reach they had, and did they have
sure.
like a 2% market share or like a 90% market share? You know,
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually kind of interesting to me. Her mother was, or her father was Bolivian.
Oh,
Bolivian.
Bolivian, which
Bolivian.
actually I can
Why am
kind
I
of see
always
that.
right? Why am I always right about these things?
Bolivian, and her mother was of European descent, and she grew up in Chicago.
Damn,
Bolivian. I could totally see that too. Totally
she is
see that.
exotic. Like, what did I say? Like,
You
she's
did.
exotic.
That's
Was
exactly
she
what you
wearing her
said.
jungle shorts or whatever the fuck did you jungle dress? What did you
Yeah,
say?
she was in a movie where she was like a savage or like, you know, in the
Yeah, you're
you
talking
know,
Yes,
about
coming out of the
that's
jungle
why
or something
men
like that.
fell in love with her.
Yeah.
10,000 BC. That was where she played like a semi-cave woman.
Yeah. We'd have to go into another episode about why dudes like that. I don't know. No, I haven't really thought about it much, but like, yeah, there's something about that. Quana's laughing like she already knows.
So the
Yeah,
problem with that is
I've
the
never heard about Raquel Welch before. I've been a woman my whole life and I've never heard about how men are attracted to
I'm not,
her. Never one time.
I'm trying to get into the science, damn it.
that's right.
Yeah.
For scientific stud, like for research.
Yeah. What was it about
That's all
her?
I wanted
Maybe
to
it
know.
was just, yeah. You guys will have to research this later and maybe get back to us on a further date.
I don't really, and personally, when I was growing up, my tastes were always for like girls my age, I guess. Like, so I was like, I really wasn't like I don't know, didn't have like a hot neighbor MILF mom or anything like that. That I, you know, it was just more like, you know, had like
Yeah.
girlfriends in sixth grade, you know, like in middle school and just they were my age and didn't really kind of wander off into those territories too
Gotcha.
much, too much.
Yeah. And there was Raquel Welch. Okay, well, good to know. You know
Well,
what? Thanks for opening up like this. That's good.
my parents were fairly, I don't know if puritanical is a fair word, but I'll use it. So like there wasn't like I wasn't seeing Raquel Welch at that age. Like there was, yeah,
Yeah. Not my mom was 15 when I was born, so we watched everything together. I saw all
yeah.
the
My parents
things.
like they were real late getting cable. Like so we would have to. It was either whatever's on the airwaves or we'd rent a video, but they were real big into like, well,
Yeah.
you're not 13, so you can't watch PG 13. You know, like you can't watch PG movies because
Yeah.
you
I
can't
was like,
watch. They would be like, you can't watch PG movies alone because it says you need parental guidance, and we're not. If we're not there, then
sure.
it
Makes
says it right on
sense.
the label. You can't
It
watch
sure
this.
does.
So I
Chris,
was kind of,
it's amazing, Chris, how different you and I grew up. It could be more.
yeah.
I watched my
No,
I got
but don't
exposed to my
but
first full length porno on VHS when I was 9,
okay.
and
Well,
it's
there's a difference
Marilyn.
though. Like
It
it
was a
wasn't,
Marilyn Chambers video, and they did DP on her like twice in the
but I
deal.
wasn't like.
I'm like, I have no idea what's going on here.
But keep in mind, so it was weird. It is. You're right. It was very different, but it's not like I wasn't aware of those things because I do remember elementary school, older kids in this. I lived in an apartment complex, right? And I was my mom, maybe divorced for a couple years and elementary school age, not sure it could have been second, third, fourth, whatever, but like older kids found a stash of Playboys and all kinds of stuff in a dumpster. And it was like I remember it vividly like a movie, like a fucking movie. Like it was like Lord of the Flies, but with boobies and like just all kinds of stuff that whoa, was just like shocking and titillating that I'd never seen before. But so I was aware of it and aware of R-rated movies because my friends would say it, but I was like, I wasn't allowed to have it. Like I wasn't allowed to like, or if I, it was like you get slapped or whatever, or you'd be made to feel bad about it. So it is, yeah, it was very different, but it was not like I wasn't unaware of it or it didn't see it at least once, but like, anyway.
Yeah.
So tell me more about your mother, Christopher.
She was a nurse.
How do
Yeah,
you
my
feel
mom's
about
awesome.
that? How do you feel about her being a nurse, that nurturing side of her, but yet
Pretty good.
absence there that I'm feeling?
No, there's none of that because early on, like we went to like a pumpkin festival in October. It's probably like exactly to this date. But so things weren't safe back then in the 70s.
No, they were not.
Like there was
Oh,
no
boy,
there was
were
not
not.
like an OSHA. There was like one OSHA
No.
guy for every state. So we were at this like pumpkin festival, like pumpkin dairy, whatever, like
No, yeah.
like they had like that, the stuff you have now, we did have in Baltimore and like Maryland in like the 70s, like farm stuff. And some guy got his arm chopped off in like a turbine and some kind of fan inside of a silo. And I remember like it was like horrific because I was near when it happened. And also my mom was the nurse nearby. So like, it's just like people like running and screaming and shit. And then my mom was like covered in blood because she was trying to apply first aid and like trying to like save this guy. So yeah, no, more like trauma. Like
Y'all
more,
got a lot of childhood trauma. Coop with
oh,
the
let me tell you more.
rake up his butt, and
She was
you.
also a nursing
Oh,
Oh,
home.
that's only an inch of the trauma that I have in an ocean full.
Yeah, he's got way more, but she was a nursing home nurse. And sometimes she would take me to work with her.
Ugh.
So this is like they called it a nursing home, but it was like a convalescerium, I think,
Oh
It's
yeah.
what they used to use different words for these places, like
That's when
convalescerium.
they were trying
The
to put him
old
down,
crazies,
giving him feather naps to put him down and shit.
It was just old
electroshocks.
crazies. Yeah, they would take me around and like my mom would give these people pills and I'd watch them and and I remember there was a story about how like one old man didn't take it. He like spit him out and I was like, he spit his pills out, mama.
Yeah.
And they caught him. And then there was like an old lady there that we'd go on field trips too. There
Fucking
was a time we
narc.
went on field trips with like
Yeah, no kidding.
nursing home patients with my mom, and there was like an old lady that had a broom. I remember there was an
Clearly
old lady that
never
had a
been on a
broom.
5150 legit.
We were on I'm like 7. We're on a field trip into the forest with all these old people, and there's a lady that brought a broom and she was like sweeping the campground. Like, ah,
So you took
yeah.
mushrooms before tonight? Is that how this
No, I'm just having all
episode's
these
gonna
memories of all these
divulge?
weird scenes.
I'm glad I brought that out in you. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. Like you can call my mom right now and be like, yeah, there was definitely a lady sweeping the campsite with a broom from the nursing home.
I absolutely believe you. I've seen a
Yeah.
lot. I've seen a lot. Yes, sir.
But I also want to make the point that like that's kind of what happened in that time. It didn't matter if your dad was like a mechanic or your mom was a nursing home nurse or your dad was like there. You might get
Or she turned tricks.
You might get brought along and like just made to sit in a lobby like a reception area for 8 hours straight.
Sure.
Yep. Yep.
And they were just like, and if you were like, hey, this isn't right, there's just like, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Oh hell
You're
yeah.
like, I'm bored. And you're just like, what did you say? You just say you're bored?
Yeah.
It was like,
You'd sit in the car and you would like do stuff with the lighter and
yeah. You'd be like, well, can I at least go sit in the car? And they'd be like, fine. And then you sit in the car and you'd play with like,
the
just
lighter.
play with stuff that you weren't supposed to play with.
Fire.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's my point. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of, we were like, our generation was exposed to a lot of stuff in that brief period of time.
Yeah.
Where no one seemed to really care. Like
At all.
we were in like
Not
a
even a
middle
little bit.
point. We were like in a transition period between here's what's normal and then here's what's going to be normal. Like y'all, you kids just, you're going to just be part of the experiment.
No
we're carrying
hydration,
the
no
water for all these
nutrition,
millennials.
nothing, like none of it,
Yeah.
right?
Oh God, no. God, no.
Hydration, nutrition, nothing, nothing.
Hydration
Oh,
was
yeah.
a garden hose. I got to tell you, I got to tell you, this brought up a memory. But the very first time I ever saw a woman's like vulva
Oh,
in a
here we go.
magazine, I had no idea those things existed. I just thought it was like I had like GI Joes, and like I would steal my sister's Barbie, and it was just like everything was a smooth plastic hump in the
Mhm.
pants.
Same.
And so that I actually saw my sister naked one time accidentally, and so I drew like a little black triangle on the Barbie because that's what I saw when she came out of the shower, the triangle of death. But I got to tell you, so the first time I saw a Wee magazine, I must have been 8. I'm serious. I'm 7 or 8 years old, and I see this woman, and she's spread, and I see and I'm not trying to be grotesque. I'm telling a
Yeah,
true
I'm
story,
just gonna let you guys.
and I see this, and having the experience that I had and growing up the way I did, cutting wood and living on a farm, I honestly thought this woman had a really bad wood cutting accident. Like like her axe went awry. I was freaked.
Yeah.
I was freaked out for like 2 years. I was like,
Yeah, we
that
had no access to like if you saw something like that and you had a crazy thought,
no perspective.
there was no internet or
Right.
any group of friend like you might have had a group of friends that would help you imagine what the hell it might have been, but like there was no
No, I had no idea, man. I was
there were
like,
yeah, there
oh
was
my
no one to
God.
turn to.
I
There
guess
was no
that
one to
axe
turn
bounced
to.
right off the wood block and hit her between the legs. Is she
Yeah.
okay? Yeah, it was an experience. I
I
was a little
didn't like that's a big thing. Like there was no one to I mean, not that I'm sure kids feel that isolated today, but I will say that like there's a million support systems out there trying not to make them feel isolated. But our
right.
like when we were that age, like no one really cared. And yeah, there was no one to turn to like, hey, I saw this really crazy thing today, and I just want to
I think I saw a
like
woman. I think I saw a woman who was a ninja lose a fucking samurai fight. I'm pretty sure she got a sword in. I mean, who the fuck was I going to talk to you about that?
yeah,
And she
you're
looked
right.
happy though. She looked happy. I don't know, and she was wearing a dress. It was weird. Yeah.
It was also a time I'm going to change the subject, and I bet when hopefully Quana comes back before I get into the names, but like there was also a time where, all right, I'll just say so the Menendez brothers,
Sure.
the
I gotta watch
Menendez
that
brothers,
documentary.
yeah, there's documentaries, a lot of talk about them. I guess their case is being re-looked at or opened back up, but like that was a time where we looked at crime way different.
Mm-hmm.
And before we get into the Menendez stuff, but like it was also a time where it's like I I was told, I was kind of trained that if you go to like the grown-ups and you start asking them a bunch of crazy questions about like some crazy stuff you might have seen, like they might put you in a home. They might put you off in like a like
I'd
they
have
might
been
do something.
dropped
They
off.
might put you in like a and they might put you in like a some kind of like home for kids or something like that. So
I'd have
you
been
would
dropped off on a logging road somewhere up on a mountain about 40 miles from the house.
yeah, there was also like that. There was a sense that no one was gonna like be like, oh, what did you see? Like, oh, tell me more about that. They'd been like, nah, we gotta like we don't like what your questions you're asking, so we're gonna have to like put you in a special school or something,
Right. No,
and just
that's
yeah,
it's actually a really good point. I used to
it's
get
different
threatened with
now.
getting my dad used to tell me he was going to throw me in the pen and the hogs would eat me or he'd bury me in the swamp if I didn't shut the fuck up. He didn't say fuck a lot, but if I didn't shut up, that's what he was going to do to me.
Yeah, I say the same thing to my kids, but I never say fuck. I never cuss ever.
Well, as long
Me
as you
too.
don't say fuck, as long as you don't say fuck, threatening to
Never.
kill. Big
No,
deal.
man, that's terrible. Like you don't use that kind of language in front of
Hell
kids.
no. When you're threatening to kill a kid, you don't say fuck. I mean,
Yeah,
come
no,
on.
it's like you're already like it's already serious enough.
Oh my God.
You got to work clean in those situations.
Am I
But like,
responsible for
okay, so
things
the
getting this
like
off topic?
I was talking about that with a coworker, like the Menendez, because like they attempted to say like our dad was abusing us, and the courts are just like, oh, we don't want to hear any of that shit. Like that's weird. That sounds real weird. Shut up. We're
Right.
gonna just treat you like cold blooded killers.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like
It's because
and
boys, no one wants to hear it about
everybody
boys. No one
and
ever wants to hear it about
everybody
little boys ever.
in 1980, whatever that was, everybody was just like, yep. fuck those kids. Everybody's like, yeah.
Like
Yep.
you today, I was trying to tell you about the kids, and you're like, "Oh, it
Don't even try to
dilutes
say
it."
like I'm talking about
You said
Menendez.
it
You're gonna be like
dilutes it.
you to
Yeah, like you said today. You told me to basically tamp it down. That I had to
These are
say
lies.
"girl bye" to you because literally
You did say
he's
girl
like,
bye.
"Quit
That's the
talking
only
about it."
that's the only true thing you just said. She said girl bye to me. It's like,
I'm
What is
done
it?
telling you about these freaks.
I don't know what that means.
Ugh.
well, we talk about a lot of conspiracy theories, and I always
He
say
shoots me
like
down. Like I don't get enough of that at home.
I don't
Just
shoot you down.
shoot.
That's lies. I'm always like, I hear you, I support you, totally understand. No, I'm kidding. I'm just like, it's possible, but I don't think so.
He's
What
like,
are you
"That's a very
crazy?
grainy picture. What are you calling me, a pedophile? You can find 19 pictures of me, every bit as grainy." Like,
I had a good point there, though.
no, you didn't. Shut up.
I did. I'll explain it later.
Yeah, good.
Well, no, I so like with the conspiracy theories. Okay, let's transition because
Yeah,
I'd like to
let's
get
jump
Coop's
in.
let's get Coop's thoughts because Coop has been like in it, right? In the thick of things. So it's like let's get your opinion on some of the larger conspiracy theory type things out there.
Yeah, do you want to start with the flood? Because I would like
Sure.
to hear
Yeah,
about
I'll let you lead the way because you obviously the
Coop, I
expert
have
on
a
this.
question, like conspiracy wise. Were you in the military when Katrina happened or no?
Yes.
You
Yes,
were?
I was
Oh, here
absolutely
we go.
talking. I was absolutely
Stuff.
talking to somebody about this very thing today who served with
Cool.
me. Yes.
Listen to this. So did the Army Corps of Engineers know that the levee was going to break?
No, I don't think
Okay.
that at all. I don't think
Okay.
that at all.
But you've heard that conspiracy theory?
I have,
Okay.
and are you talking about like these conspiracy theory that it was racially based because of the vast
No, no,
number?
no. I just feel like the government isn't really protecting us, and maybe they started that earlier with maybe races that
Here's
were just
the big
easily more disposable.
here's the big difference between the response to what's going on now in North Carolina and what happened during Katrina. Everybody was like, "Oh, Bush doesn't care. He's not." You know what? They
Right.
deployed the entire Fifth Army plus mobilized 4 states worth of National Guard to assist in that. That's
Right.
not what's going on in North Carolina. The Fifth
Exactly.
Army goes from Texas, well, it used to, I don't know what it does anymore, New Mexico, California, all that. I used to be part of the Fifth Army, all that. The commanding general, I knew him. I actually served underneath him at Fort Hood, Texas. General Henry. He was a Cajun that really liked to talk like this. You
I
stuck
love
on
occasion.
stupid.
I love
Yeah,
occasion.
he was an interesting character. You stuck on stupid, boy.
Quick
He would say that.
question. Did they
They deployed the
mobilize
entire
like
Fifth Army.
but how so I and again I'm not like a real quick question. Like
Mhm.
the big thing about Katrina was like, did they wait? They didn't do it soon enough, or did they
No.
do that pretty quickly?
No, they did it very quickly, but
Okay. Yeah, I'm just asking. I'm not
Is the
sure.
argument that they knew that the levee was going to break and they maybe should have deployed it before, though? I think that that's like what the conspiracy is that we
I
knew that the levee was going to break and maybe we didn't get people out fast enough, or
understand where you're going with that.
I'm
And
not going anywhere. Honestly,
no,
I'm literally not.
No. And the conspiracy theory about that, there was no way to predict that because they've been
Okay.
hit by hurricanes a million times
Right,
and
right.
nothing broke before. The engineering on those levees was some of the best engineering that's ever been done. I mean, Louisiana,
I live in a levee town.
Nolens is what 40 feet below sea level.
Right.
It really shouldn't exist. It only exists because of human ingenuity. Just like, well, Sacramento.
Yeah.
Sacramento's
That's why I said
below
I
sea-
live in a levee town.
Yeah, you do. You
I
do.
get it.
You do. I lived there too, and it
Yeah.
always just like confounded me. Like every spring, it would be like going across the
Yeah.
viaduct between Sacramento and Davis, where I taught college. It's like, who the fuck would build this city here?
Yeah,
You know?
it's weird.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah,
Nolens
those
is a
areas in
little-
North Carolina were flooded about 110 years ago or something like that. Like
Yeah.
they were flooded
a-
the same. It's happened
Yeah,
before.
it's a once in a 100 200 year event. It really is, and there's just no way. No, I will go to my grave saying there's absolutely no way. The Army Corps of Engineers did as good of a technological job as you can possibly do, and the Army Corps built all the levees around Sacramento too, and Davis and
Yeah.
all that whole system too, and that. So far, it's held. I've seen some pretty, but when I lived there, I saw some pretty bad
The
years. where it
homeless
was
people
scary.
are digging into it, so it's a little bit scary. Like
Well, and
there's
then
a whole homeless encampment that lives on the levee, and they're
oh,
digging
God,
into the levee.
that's terrible.
Yeah, it's
In
horrible.
in Nolans in Louisiana, Mississippi, you have Nutria that do that for you. Those big
Right.
fucking rats that do
Yeah,
that. But
sure.
yeah, no, I don't believe that for an instant. I believe the government responded as well as it could to the emergency
So,
situation.
and I do too. I mean, I think at least there was maybe a more, I don't know. I saw the things that happened in Maui firsthand because my son was there, and
Oh,
I
wow.
see this stuff in North Carolina, and it's like we're not helping anybody. Like, and I just don't understand why. Like,
Maui is a goddamn joke. It's a travesty. And
yeah,
I no, I was very much a part of the active duty army back then, and like I said, I knew the commanding general of the Fifth Army. They rolled the entire. You know that never happens. They put in an entire army corps, which depending on the type of mission a corps has, you're talking. I don't want to get this wrong because somebody will fact check me, but you're talking about 9, 10,000 soldiers
nice.
that were sent there to assist and do. And the Army Corps of Engineers was there. So no,
They're saying that people are trying to put in their papers right now to take time off, leave to like that are stationed in North Carolina to try and help and find their own family, and that
wow,
they're
yeah,
getting denied. Have you heard any of that?
I had not heard that. I have not
Okay.
heard that. I
It's
have
the
been
National
watching.
Guard. I guess the National Guard is being
I think
denied.
Russ asked his friends that because he used to be in that area, or
Okay.
maybe or
Russ
somewhere
is from
close.
Russ is from that area.
Yeah, and I
He
think I
grew up in that
saw
area.
a couple of his friends confirm,
That
Okay.
they are denying their,
like, or that there's or
I heard they have papers to go to the Middle East, right? Because like
Oh,
that's
that's a brigade of the 101st Airborne, and they're air assault, not airborne, and that's not the same thing. They were.
okay.
That's another thing. It's like, oh, they're sending the 101st over there. Finally, they were scheduled to go there 18 months ago for a rotation to replace the 10 Mountain
it is
Division.
weird. It's
I've
it's
talked
really
about this
messed
on the
up how those
podcast a
things
lot.
get. Yeah, those
Yeah.
things get those like things that were scheduled to a year in advance or were always going to happen no matter what and always happen
It's
every 2 years kind of get played up as,
So for
can you
this
No,
believe the
it's
National Guard
timing of
that's
this?
there, it's just the
planned well in
timing.
advance.
It's just timing.
It's timing. Yeah, I believe a lot of it is. I don't think the
Is there
government's
no
doing enough.
forgiveness for like a national disaster like this? Like if your family was missing and you wanted to put in your papers to like maybe like see if you knew a back road or whatever, like
I
is
can't
that
I
seem
can't imagine
reasonable?
I can't imagine a commander, at least this
Right.
commander, not
Being
supporting that.
sympathetic. Right.
Not
Right. Right.
supporting
Right.
that. I can't
Those
imagine.
are, I really I have trouble, Quan and I, we argue about this stuff a little bit, but like I have trouble believing all the accusations of all the wrongdoing because it's like, I need to know more because I would like to know, like, was anyone granted leave? And maybe someone was, but like,
Right.
I believe that at least a few people maybe where they were told, no, you can't go. But there's,
That
but there
it's
could
not
be,
just like a blatant
yeah,
lie or
because there could
conspiracy.
be, because it could be like, well, hey man, you're the only, you two guys are the only ones that can do this, or like you're scheduled to be in this critical position this
Right.
weekend. So I'm sorry. Like, and also like kind of like a lot of CYA follow orders kind of thing. Like, I
I
don't
mean, I
really
don't
feel
know
like
though, like
making a
in the military,
decision.
can you just like, if you had like a family emergency, would there be like, even if you
Almost
had a
always.
paper to go to the Middle East, would you be able to pull something like
Happens all the
that?
time. It happens
Like if
all the
your
time.
family was missing, but if you're, if you are, what is,
Happens all the time.
okay, all right.
So there's like
The vast
I,
majority of the time, if there's something like that, or even if it's like, okay, my wife is sick and she's in the hospital and we're supposed to get deployed next week, it's like, well, we'll get you when we get you. You can come over when things stabilize.
What's
Absolutely.
What's interesting though is like Pete Buttigieg is saying that it's not happening. You know what I mean? And then like Elon saying, yeah, it is kind of happening. Like we're here talking about it. Like I wonder if like
well, and he's
at your
saying, he's
level
not
it would be like
saying,
okay, but then
no,
like at
no,
another
hold
level it
on.
wouldn't be.
We're talking about we're talking about one thing, which is soldiers being denied leave, but Elon Musk is talking about something else different happening, which
I'm just
is
talking about the
also,
government saying it though. Like if the government's if at like at Coop's level, he would say, I would never deny my soldier of that. But if at a higher level than Coop, they're saying, yeah, we're just going to hold everybody down here today. And like, we'll see what's going to happen in a couple of days before we give anybody their papers
Yeah.
to go.
You
I don't know.
here-
I honestly don't know. I try to I believe that there's probably some shitbags involved.
there's
and
some
probably
individual cases. I guarantee
Yeah,
you there's bad
nefarious
leadership and
stuff.
there's individual cases. I'm sure that happens. I
I
just
also believe there's
I
an
don't think I've ever
appetite.
personally seen it, and I
Okay.
don't think I ever have. They always say the needs of the army over the needs of the individual, but when you talk about family, you talk about other stuff like that. That's one thing you don't fuck with. That's a sacred cow.
Right. You would think.
That is a sacred cow, and because you're going to lose that soldier, you're going to lose them in here and in here. And even if you're thinking needs of the army, well, I need to support the soldier because I need the soldier in the future. And that's an okay way to
So
think.
like I
You're
really
looking- that's a resource.
That's good because to Coop, it's like it's unthinkable. But to people like you and me, Quana, that aren't really, like I think that, to be honest, like for folks like you and me, like there's an appetite for any story where the government is fucking regular people over. There's like an appetite for it. So when someone says, can you believe that Fort whatever is denying their soldiers leave to go find their
It
loved
makes it
ones,
super
like
easy to believe. You're right.
it just makes it so easy to, and it's like,
I'm not saying
For
it
me-
doesn't happen. I'm not
yeah,
saying
for
it
me,
doesn't
I'm
happen.
like, I bet that's happening at least to somebody, but I don't know that there's like a policy coming down from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to
Bigger.
make this happen.
Gotcha.
That's really,
Well, if it's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, I mean, Tim Walz got out of it.
well, Tim Walz, I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny, not to change the subject, but it brings up something that Russ and I talked about on a couple of podcasts about, and he got into it big time with one of my ex-friends who served at a very high level like we did. He's become a leftist douchebag, a guy I went to high school with. I don't talk to him anymore. And he got into it with Russ because Russ is like, okay, Walls is a lion sack of shit, and he purposely got out of deployment. It's like, well, you don't know that. He probably put his paperwork in before he knew he was getting deployed. Motherfucker, there's this thing called ARFRGen. You know exactly what readiness cycle your unit is 4 fucking years out. There's no exception. That's the way and it's a good thing. The Army's gone to this thing rather than it's surprise. It's more like, okay, you are in readiness level 3, you're in readiness level 2, you're training for deployment, then you go on deployment, and that's a several year process. And when you're talking those kind of missions, that is not something. I mean, if there was nuclear war and everything was invaded, that might be different. Tim Walz absolutely goddamn knew his unit was going to deploy. He absolutely. He's a spineless coward, and I'm sorry. It's one of the things I can't stand about him. It's like he knew, and
Isn't
he left
the National Guard though kind of right? Like, aren't they like at home stuff? Like, shouldn't they be doing the stuff that's like helping the people? And
that's the general
Carolina?
idea. But here's the thing about National Guard people don't realize. So you have the reserve component, which consists of the National Guard and the Army Reserve.
right.
Those are two completely separate things.
Okay.
The National Guard works for the state, and they look like your combat units. They're shaped like what you're used to thinking the Army's about: infantry, armor, aviation, all those guys. The Army Reserve is the combat support, combat service support. So they're like logistics, transportation, medical service, all that stuff. They're federal. They're basically the labor pool for big Army. So National Guard would never just get deployed without knowing way ahead of time. But during Iraqi freedom and enduring freedom, we sent more reserve component soldiers overseas on more rotations than active duty actually served in, because the Army National Guard actually trains as a combat unit. And so the president can go, okay, I know this belongs to you, Governor, but now we're putting them on Title 10 and we're going to deploy them. A lot of National Guard units deployed as combat units. A
So
ton
that
of
could be
reserve.
the papers that they're talking about in North Carolina. Like maybe they're getting ready to go fight over there for whatever they're doing with all the missiles.
I don't think that there's almost no deployments like that happening right now.
Okay.
We're not in a lot of places right now. We
Okay.
have a small.
So the deployments for what? Just like kind of support and logistics and that type of thing, or you're
Right.
saying there's no deployments at all, or they're just
I'm not saying
just
there's no
kind of
deployments
boring.
at all. The 10th Mountain has been in the Middle East for a year. Now the 101st is replacing them. We got people in Monrovia, for fuck's sake, and all over the
Unreal.
place.
What do you
It's
think when
crazy.
Kamala
Dude.
said that no one was
Crazy.
over there?
That is the biggest, fattest fucking lie I've ever heard in my goddamn life, and she should not
Soviet
be elected just
level.
for that.
Those are Soviet era
Thank
lies.
you
Like
for
I
saying
grew
that.
up as a kid.
Glasnost bitch. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
I
call
grew
her
up
the Glasnost bitch, man. I'm serious. It's
I grew
terrible.
up as a kid. Like I would grow up as a kid saying, hey, like with everybody, all the grown-ups saying, hey, these Ruskies are bad. And here's
Yeah.
why, because they don't have elections. Their elections are rigged and they
Yep.
lie to their people all the time and they have centralized government. And then it's like, wow. Fast forward 40 years later, and it's like, wow, we got all that stuff here.
Exactly
And
what
they're
you
just
told us to
lying,
hate. You are.
like telling
You're not wrong. You're not
the
wrong.
biggest lies.
Yeah.
Like
You're not wrong.
I'm kind of like obsessed with this a little bit, like these similarities between the United States and the Soviet Union, and it's freaky. It's freaky.
Has nobody ever told Kamala
The
Harris that she sounds
Politburo.
like she's squeezing a turd out when she talks? Wow. There are no combat units. I'm trying not to put.
I question
God.
any dude that I question. Like I can understand women that vote for Kamala, but I cannot understand any man that
No, you
votes
can
for this woman.
you can go fuck yourself off of Man Planet. You didn't even get a man card to begin with.
Can I speak as a woman of color? Also, I'm a little offended, like that you, like
Is that
that's
terrible?
it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like we're just voting
You probably
because
should
she
be.
fucking looks like me. Like I'm fine. Like I understand. I grew up with blonde Barbies. I would have loved to have had a brown skin Barbie with brown hair. I would have loved it. Obviously.
Hey, Quanta, I've got several over here in
It's
my
fair.
cabinet if you need me to send you.
Nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Like, I
Sorry.
understand what it means to be a little brown girl and to want to see that. Like, I get it. I
I guess I'm just
understand
trying to
it.
give a little bit of grace
But
to
how
some
stupid can you
people, but
possibly be to
dudes,
like,
no.
I'm just gonna vote for her because she has the same color skin as me and she's a woman. First of all, women don't even like women. Can we just start
Well,
there?
yeah, it's a whole other show,
Like,
but
oh, we're
yes,
just
we
gonna
can
act
start
like we just
there.
all of a sudden like other women? Like, I will love
Yeah,
it.
that's one of the I don't know. I'm I'm trying to figure out how do I explain that to my son?
To your daughters that you have to be an allegiance. You have to
oh
like,
yeah, for
you
sure.
have to
Like I'll
line
have
up your
to.
vaginas with this tribe, even though it's so stupid. But
Well, I
because
have
you
twin
both have
daughters.
vaginas, you have to go do that.
I have twin daughters, so I kind of like it's kind of built in that you must love each other, right? You know, like you must appreciate each other's womanhood, right?
Sure.
But like, yeah, I get it. Like out in the wild, non-related, non-blood related, yeah, it's like dudes are good. Like we go in the locker room and it's like we just punch each other and fucking call each other bitches and names, and it's like we don't even care. We could be best friends. We don't even know each other's names. We'll be best friends. Like I went to that Dallas Cowboys Ravens game. I sat next to two dudes and we were just like talking the whole time. I don't even know their names. I don't know where they're from. Like,
yeah.
But women, yeah, you guys are
Not all of
competitive.
us. Not all of us. Some of
Y'all
us
are,
love other women. Like I'm just fine with it. Like
I know, but
I
y'all are
don't want to be like that. I
as
hate
in
that.
general, y'all are very competitive. Like
Yes. And now
way
all of them
more
are like,
competitive.
oh, we just want to go to this tribe of whatever the demonic bullshit they're serving up.
So, Coop, you're saying that the National Guard, in relation to like the disaster that's happened, that the National Guard is not really prepared to, in like a week's time, roll out and help people in North Carolina. Like, and it's fine
No,
if
I'm
it
not,
isn't, because it's like
I'm not saying that. I'm saying they should
okay.
be ready in 72 hours time
They
to roll.
said that
No,
those all of
but
the
you're
stuff
saying
that
they
they
should
have.
be. I'm asking,
Should be.
are they supposed to be? Are they planning to be? Or are they more like,
Yeah,
we're actually planning to be over somewhere else? Like we're
part
planning
of
for
what
like,
you get trained in those components is called it's called the COOP, but with a C, continuity of operations plan. And so for your local area, you know how to sustain operations during a natural disaster. That's part of your training. It's part
okay.
of your
So it is
SOP.
part of like that. Okay.
There's an officer who wrote this, like I did that once for a unit. 500-page manual on how we're going to handle contingencies that are outside the norm of a military operation.
So that
So
would be
what
like a
would that,
flood or an earthquake or something like
The
that, natural disaster.
The one that I wrote for a unit was based on a contingency that there was going to be a terrorist attack in Seattle and all the north and south bridges would be cut and people would be blah, 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 blah.
They got
So
rid of
how
the
do,
bridges though. The bridges
so how do
are
we handle
gone.
them?
That's
So
what
how
they
do we
did in
handle
North
that?
Carolina. The bridges are gone.
Right, right. And it's so
Here it
that
is.
is part of every unit's National Guard unit's idea. It may not, it depending on the priorities of the unit commander, but that has to be
Well,
within your SOPs because
what
that's part of your job is to protect the citizens of the state that you're a National Guard soldier in, because that's your primary mission. You
Why aren't
belong
they
to the governor.
deploying them then?
Your commander in chief is the governor of that state until the president invokes Title 10,
okay.
and
So
then the
step by
president is
step
the commander in
here,
chief.
step by step. So there is a division, I'm not sure what you'd call it, but there's a division or state national, however you break it down. There's a
Every
there's a
state has a
group.
National Guard,
Yeah,
and they
there's a
all look
National
different.
Guard for North Carolina or
Yeah.
Georgia
Absolutely.
or Tennessee
Yep.
that should be training for all these things, right?
At least part of the time and have an idea about how that works. And there's
Yeah,
officers.
there's a
The
binder with some
commander
instructions or
knows.
something.
The
There's
commander
a
has it planned,
and
right?
you have
Okay.
you have a yearly shit, what's the word? I'm forgetting right now. It's like basically you have to go through a yearly exercise. And when I was doing this, when I was G3, which is big operations, and that was part of my job, we would drill with FEMA, we would drill with local police officers, we would drill with the Washington State troopers. We'd get together at the FEMA headquarters and have discussions about this. And I was kind of the head active duty military honcho who was kind of in charge of this. So I was kind of a big player on the scene. And FEMA would defer to me because of my military deal. And we had a solid fucking plan. I'm going to tell you, we had a solid fucking plan in the Pacific Northwest when I did that. So yeah, and I wasn't a National Guardsman. It was a different role, but the National Guard was completely involved.
So
Okay.
what do you like, just like big overall question, what do you think? Why wasn't the National Guard for that region like deployed? Is it's just really hard, or they got knocked out too, or they were
That
told
could be. That could
what
very
is
well
it?
be.
Like, what do you think?
I haven't looked at the battle maps or anything like that, but it could
And it's
be.
hard to know in a week's time too. Like,
Yeah, it
like
could be
it
routes
does
in
take
and
time
out,
to.
compromised, all that stuff.
I
I can
heard that
tell you, that the National Guard should be waiting in the muck, helping people right now, bringing MREs, blankets, whatever it takes, getting people out of there. That should be a huge part of this operation. It should be.
And it doesn't, it seems
I
like
have
it's not at all.
I haven't seen it. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it, but I'm
It's
not
not at
there on the
all.
ground. I'm not
It's
boots
not.
on the
Okay.
ground.
So
But
we're
from what I'm
we're
watching in
really
TV, I haven't seen it.
we're drilling down and identifying some fucked up areas like
Yeah,
Sure.
for
like,
sure.
yeah, there's something.
It should be happening and it's not happening. Normal procedure would be that it would be happening, and it's weird that it's not. It is weird that it's not.
And you
So
have
there
to
needs to be
flex.
some
There's no way,
explanations on, yeah. And there
there's
could
no
be
way you
good
can write a
explanations or not.
plan. You can't write a plan for everything. As they say, the best plan doesn't survive the first fucking bullet, right? You can't
Sure.
write a plan for everything, but you got to maintain that flexibility. And commanders have to say, all right, so here's this. So get your fucking sandbags and get your MREs and do this. And this is what we're going to do. I don't know why. And I'm not boots on the ground. That's not happening. But I'm telling you, is that part of their big overall mission? Absolutely. Without question.
Okay, well, so would
I
it be
heard
fair
that
to say that so the last time that area flooded like that was like 1913 or something?
Yeah.
Would it be
Something like
fair?
that. Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that 110 years later, out of all the disasters they'd be planning for, maybe like a biblical flood would not be one of them? They'd be more planning for like a chemical something or
they would
forest
still have the
fire
meals ready to
or
eat. They would still have the blankets. They would still have the
yeah, okay.
equipment to go get people. They would have the helicopters that they need to like go into these areas
Well,
where
that's
roads
fair.
and
That's very
bridges have been
fair.
washed out.
That is fair, but like the key is like all that stuff would be dry because it would have been like a forest fire or a chemical burnt fire or something, not a biblical flood. Like, is it fair that maybe biblical flood was not in their top 5 things to be preparing for in 2024?
I guarantee you it's in their contingency of operations plan. I don't know. It's something. Look, I mean,
Like, but it's like it's prior, like prioritized, like, and
sure. Yeah.
I'm
and
just
there's
saying, is it possible that
there's only
Sure.
so much time to train, right? And you got to prioritize.
right?
You got to use economy of force. You got to go. There's only so much time to train. And the most important thing is keeping my soldiers alive. So I'm going to train them in soldier skills and unit skills. And so if they have to deploy, say to the Middle East, they're going to have to fuck it. They're going to have to kill and keep their fellow soldiers alive. So that's the most important priority. It just is. These are not. This is not FEMA, okay? But they augment that overall battle space when something bad happens. If a solar flare happened where I live right now, an hour and a half south of Seattle, I doubt we'd know how to take the fuck care of that when all the computers went down.
Right.
You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So there's only so much time you get to train. The National Guard does 1 week in a month, probably two, maybe, depending on what, and then their 2 week rotation, 30-day rotation a year. That's it. So as a
Yeah.
commander, you have to prioritize what you're focusing your training on. And that's the evil thing about being in charge of a unit like that is you have to prioritize its economy of force. What am I going to
It's a
do?
numbers game. You're right. Exactly. Yeah. It's like it really.
So I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge National Guard commanders or anything like that. It's an interesting discussion, and I don't know what's going on, and I don't know why. It seems like there's just like a complete and utter failure in response to this. I okay, and I think the discussion is fair about, well, I'm going to give everybody $750. Yet fucking Jablotny from Ukraine comes over here and gets another $60 billion check written to his fucking comedian
Yeah, it's
ass.
insane.
You know,
Insane.
so
Yep.
so I would say, and
Have
then
you
of
seen the
course,
way he can whip his ween around though?
God, what was that?
There's a video going around of him and I guess he was like some sort of dancer beforehand, but he's doing like this dance where he's just like
Oh
flapping
yeah,
his
Zelensky. Yeah,
ween around.
he's quite the performer. Yeah, quite
Yeah,
the
a lot of
Throwing
people
his
disagree.
junk.
A lot of
His
people
tiny
disagree
little
with me
junk.
and don't like my politics on this, but Zelensky can fucking suck my fucking bratwurst. I don't like the guy. I don't like his politics. I think he's incompetent, and I am not happy with that situation. It's not like I'm rooting against Ukraine, but
yeah.
let's not put any money into border security and let's not help these people out, but let's give them another fucking $1 trillion.
Yeah, I don't really
Well, they have
like
all the wheat that we want, so we're just gonna go over there. We're gonna take over all their
yeah.
land after we destroy
They're just in a
everything.
they're just in a
So,
good spot. They're just in it's just a beautiful piece of real estate there in Ukraine.
yeah.
But like
It is.
I hate this because it's like I don't like Russia. I was born and raised to not like Russia.
Have you
Like
seen like all the
it's
pictures
like
though? Like it's like we always act like we're so great and whatever, but like
I know I'm not saying it's right,
it's
but I'm
like
just saying like it's real hard for me to like care
I
about
know.
them,
I know,
because I was like the first 20 years of my life, it's like these people want to kill you. Like so
Yeah. Hide under your desk,
they want to
little
peel you
boy.
and steal your blue jeans, but
Yeah.
like to me it's like it's kind of like Ukraine is Russia light.
Yeah.
Like it's like a less calorie Russia. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That like won't hurt your figure as much.
It's like
So
the crystal light of European.
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, it's a Bartles and James of
I told you that my
of-
husband worked for a car dealer that when he worked for them originally, they were Russians 5 years ago. When he went back to work with them a couple years, 3, 4 years after that, but the war had started, they said, listen, we're Ukrainian.
Yeah, I think that was when like and again like Putin don't he's KGB. Like to me KGB is like makes my skin crawl. Like it's like I can't sympathize. I can't like anybody, but it's like yeah, I think his point when he was talking to Tucker, he was trying to tell Tucker Carlson like shit's complicated over here.
Yeah,
Like,
we're the same.
all these are some crazy white people, and we got real loose loyalties to each other. Like the
You
shifting
imagine?
borders. Like
Can you imagine my emotional reaction when I finally found out my heritage on my father's side, or my biological father's side, when I was 47, and realized it was mostly Ukrainian Russian? Stack
what do you do with that?
stack that with the Viking, German, Scottish. It's like
Yeah, it's like
no wonder I'm fucking nuts.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's like yeah, that's true.
everything inside me wants to kill everybody else.
That is true. If anybody had any sense, if the United States military had any sense, they'd be like testing people for like Ukrainian Viking blood.
Look at
Yeah.
this look at this forehead. That is an Eastern
Bro,
Europe forehead.
war hoop and Irish. Look at this forehead.
Chris is the only one with a nice normal
Yeah.
Yeah.
forehead.
Oh
If I
well.
was the military right now, I'd be like, and literally right now at 10:21 Central Time on a Friday night, I'd be trying I'd be telling my cyber team to hack 23andMe, like it hadn't already
I
done
think
it to
they lied
find
and told everyone they had a
to
little
find
Congolese in them. Everybody's
to
got a little
find.
bit 3% black.
I would tell the military to find all the Ukrainian Vikings and
You and
sign
my
them up.
husband literally full. He had like 98, and then there was like 2%, but it was also very white on that part too.
There was nothing south of Bavaria for my heritage. Nothing. Nothing. It cuts off right there at that line. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay being the whitest human being on planet Earth. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into a
Hey,
weird topic to
You're welcome.
to,
You're welcome for roads, computers, medicine,
Bro, I
science.
love the show
You're welcome.
Vikings, man.
You're welcome for all that
Vikings on
shit, man.
Netflix. The
Don't
show
get me
Vikings
started.
on
I
History
think
Channel on Netflix is fantastic. Gripping.
have
I love that show.
I have seen
I'm
it.
with you, man.
I got asked to be a guest star in that. No.
You could be. Oh man, bro. Oh, dude, if they made like another Last Kingdom movie,
Oh, Last
Yeah.
Kingdom is wonderful.
you could definitely be like the old chieftain.
That's right.
Yeah.
Uhtred.
So okay,
Where is your loyalty, Uhtred?
Uhtred. Yeah. Those shows are great.
They are good.
I love all those shows.
I love the books
so,
too.
all right, so we know your background, so it's all about what you've seen, what you've been through. But okay, one of the things we talk about, especially nowadays, the last couple of days with the weather stuff, is the HARP, the HAARP, and the
I know
weather
all about this, actually.
machines and all that kind of stuff. Like, just overview. What's your take on it?
Okay, so
What's your take on like what can we do? What do you think? What do you think we can do right now?
do I think that HARP actually is that the entire what do we even call it? I don't want to call it a conspiracy theory, but the false flag about it being something that manipulates the atmosphere and changes the weather was a false
You think
flag.
it's a false flag?
This
Mhm.
can we just
Absolutely.
preface this that also Coop believes in the moon landing?
God damn.
Without question.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Without question. Without question. Fucking hey, how's that flat earth treating you there, Kwana?
Riding
Can you
it.
see, can you see
Wavy,
Japan
baby,
from
wavy,
Sacramento?
baby.
Didn't think so.
Hey, tell me about the flight pass. I'm telling you what. I'm telling you what.
No. HARP,
My
okay,
son, my
so
son.
there's a facility here in Washington State that's north of me about
Is
2.5.
Anne Heche in the room with you right now?
What's that?
I was asking Kwana. Is Anne
Oh.
Heche? Because she's right over here. Like we're hanging out.
Anne Heche?
Yeah, we're pounding natty lights tonight later on.
Y'all are lucky to have me. I'm gonna tell you, like I tell my husband,
God-
y'all are
God
lucky
rest
to
her
have
soul.
me.
You're right.
God rest Anne Heche's soul. I actually kind of had a thing for her.
Well, let this man finish. That is his. Let's
Yeah, tell
talk
us all
his-
about the conspiracy of how
like
they
it.
cannot modify the fucking
What's
weather.
that-
Tell
what's
us
that song I used to
when
love?
They had the flood last.
What's that
ago.
song I used to love? Oh, Soul Coughing. You remember that song?
No.
Stand aside and let the man go through. Let the man go through. You remember that song?
No.
Super Bon Bon, Super Bon Bon. Come on, that was a great song.
No.
Anyway, so there is a facility up about 3 hours north of here that I've been to when I was still on active duty that you can't get within. It's a Navy facility, but there's like a campground and there's like a family thing there. But there's also this weird thing where you drive a little bit and all of a sudden there's like all these like badass armed guards. There's gates that are 30 feet tall and you can't get within 5 miles of it. And you know what it is? It's that technology that we developed where submarines and the mainland can talk to each other through a very unique technology through the earth and the ocean, and they actually can communicate without being detected. HARP was the original version of that. It's a very advanced communication device that our nuclear submarines can stay in contact with each other during a nuclear war. That's sorry to burst your bubble.
No,
It's
my
not
bubble's
some,
not. Are you telling me that they don't do cloud seeding?
Her bubble is strong. Her bubble is
there's no
thick.
cloud seeding. There's no
You're telling
chemtrails.
me that there's no cloud seeding. You know
There's
what?
no,
Then you need to go and research that a little bit further, buddy. I'm just telling you that right now.
if
I
they're
would,
doing
Well,
it,
hold
they're
on.
not doing
Let's
it from
no,
you're
HARP.
hold on.
lucky.
Is there cloud seeding by HARP? Like, we got to like.
That's what I'm
specific
trying to
things.
delineate. No, there's no cloud seeding by HARP. They used to
I'm
do
not
cloud
saying
seeding.
by harp. You're the one who said harp. I didn't say fucking harp.
I didn't say harp.
said
Oh
that
no,
they're
hold on. I
cloud
brought up
seeding.
HARP specific. We have to we can't just talk in like these like we have to talk about the organizations that like a lot of the conspiracy theories about the weather machines are based on the fact that they believe that HARP is doing it. So that's why I
No,
brought up HARP.
I'm 100% familiar with that, and I'm 100% familiar with what I said was not classified, but I know some classified stuff about that too. And it's an advanced communication device that was kind of the tester on that, and now there's several locations throughout the world that the Navy uses to communicate submarine to submarine. Nothing wrong with that. That's great. It's great that we can talk submarine to submarine without our enemies knowing that we're
Okay.
talking to each other, going in stealth.
Follow up question, and this is coming from Quana, me channeling Quana. Follow up question is
Do
it
I get your
possible?
honors? Yes, I do.
Is it possible that a military or a government agency would have a level of secrecy that's legitimate, but that level of legitimate secrecy and protection would also be covering up something else?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. 100%.
So I think that's kind of where I sit, is like,
I know some stuff. I know some stuff like that. Nothing,
So
nothing that would
maybe
shock you. I mean, we could get into the UAP thing. You know, what's going on with UAPs? They used to call them UFOs. Is the government false flagging some of that stuff? Is that stuff going on? Because blah, 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 blah. Is this a,
I will always call them
You know-
ETs. I don't care about all your woke terminology and stuff, but they will always be called ETs.
what
Wait.
about
there we
Be
go.
right back. I'm
the
listening.
conspiracy that's going on right now on TikTok in relation to North Carolina? I'm not trying to be insensitive.
Excuse me.
But they are saying that there was like a Vietnam thing that happened where they used weather modification to like bust out some of the roads and make it like hard to travel, like I think they call it Operation Popeye.
I have heard this.
Okay.
And
So
on-
and they
on
they say that they used weather modification. So for you to say that weather modification isn't real, it's weird to me when they're actually, like, the government says that they use it. They've been using it since the 40s. Like, it is a real thing. Weather modification is a real thing. In Dubai, they used it so much that they had record floods last summer because of cloud seeding. Like, cloud seeding is a real thing. It's not fake.
They cloud seeded in the 1970s when we'd go through a few months of drought.
Yeah.
They use a chemical that made it rain. Of course, you can do
Yes.
that.
Yes,
Do I think
that's-
there's like this big time conspiracy thing where there's all this technology and all that kind of thing? I mean, in DARPA, maybe they got some machines that can do that are capable of doing that. Have I ever been exposed to anything like that? No. And we were just specifically talking about, you know, one area. Do I think weather manipulation eventually will be possible? I think if we can do it now, it's incredibly limited.
We've been doing it since the 40s. So if we've been doing,
Yeah,
if we've known about it since the 40s,
I
it
don't-
would be incredibly advanced.
I think they've been
since then.
researching it since the 40s. I don't know how much success they've had. I
Well,
don't.
They used
I
it in
don't know.
Vietnam. So I mean, you can research that or look into it. Operation Popeye, whatever they fucking called it. I'm not the writer of it. I'm just telling you what's out there.
And I remember Operation what was it called? Jumpstart, where we went down to Antarctica and came up against German UFOs and all that stuff because Admiral Byrd had wrote it all in his journal. It turned out his son wrote the journal to make money. So I'm just saying, you always have to look at things from an angle. Hey, look. One thing we will not argue about is the government in on a bunch of
shady AF.
Fuck yeah. Hell the fuck yeah, they are.
Hell yeah.
I don't think on a global aspect, and I don't think in a big picture aspect, we have the technology. We have the technology to manipulate the weather. We'd be doing different things with it. Okay, we'd be doing different things with it. We'd be doing a lot of good things with it too. We would, because that's where the money. That's where the money would be.
that's
Okay.
kind of where the flip side of the whole the theory is like, and that's kind of why I don't really like, I can think it's possible and I can think it's happening, but I don't really I'm not sure about the good or bad because I'm thinking about what's the net result of this is like,
I'm
I
listening,
don't,
guys.
I don't, yeah, man, I don't think scientists would develop this to wipe people out. I think they'd probably be convinced the actual scientists, not the people that are paying them and telling them what to
Right.
do, but the actual scientists would be convinced that you're doing something good here, like you're bringing rain to drought areas. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the course of doing these things, they actually are able to do those things. But then it's like, obviously, you know, there's
Using it for good instead of evil. You know how the
and they're
government
going to
does
use it
with
for
all of the other
both,
things. They
and
always
they're going
just
to,
go for the good instead of the evil. That's how it
no, I'm
works.
saying it starts as like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and that
Yeah.
includes cloud seeding, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
this applies to all, like that
Yes.
someone somewhere was like, we're going to do a good thing.
Yeah.
We're going to help people grow more crops. And then there's someone else over here thinking, yeah, keep going. Keep making that technology because I'm going to use it for something else.
I
And
can
that's
tell you
just
what.
that is the human condition. And
With
oh,
a,
also like so like the story about Vietnam and like what they were trying to do. I'm not in the military, but I'm a man, and men do shit, and we brag about stuff, and we boast, and we bullshit. So I'm thinking like, so I'm a guy that's supposed to like do something, like invent something that's going to be really effective in our battle against the enemy. So then I get paid a lot of money and given a bunch of funds to do something, and then I do it, and then I'm also in charge of writing the report on whether my work was really effective. So I write a report saying, "Oh, the damage I did to these Vietnamese was just awesome." So then it goes down in history as
Are you trying to say
somebody
that an operation that the
somebody
government
did
says that
something.
they had was just like just flash
No,
floods
I'm
and
trying to
somebody took
say
credit?
like no, I'm trying to say that men lie about what they do. Like, do you not agree with that? Fuck. I mean, what the fuck?
That
You're listening?
is my daily life. What are you talking
Well, then hear what I'm saying. Like I'm saying that they wrote a report that they did something and they were full of shit.
Okay. All
There's a
right.
decent chance that all
You
they
know
did was
what?
drop some
You've
bombs on some
convinced
roads.
me that weather
as I said
modification is
earlier,
not real. There's
step
no
aside
such
and let the man
thing.
go through. Let the
There is
man go
no
through.
such thing as crop circles or mine are gone in this timeline. I haven't seen. I used to take pictures of them. I have so many pictures of the sky, the lines in my sky. They're
Did you
gone.
just talk about crop circles? Did you just throw crop circles in here?
I did.
Are you talking about chemtrails now?
Damn it.
Yeah, the chemtrails are gone. They've been gone for like 4 months. Coop,
You
they're
mean
gone.
airplanes? You mean airplanes that disrupt the vapor
They're gone.
level of the Oculus clouds and the yeah, oh, that thing that leaves actual, oh yeah.
God.
I do have a physics degree. I can help you out with this. That's actually a real reaction to airplanes going overhead. Now I will tell you
Except for
this.
when you watch them go over at 10 o'clock in the morning because you're laying out in the sun, you're just laying out there and you watch them fly over. And then as they spread the fuck out, the entire sun is gone in Sacramento. The hot death sun of Sacramento is gone. It's just like this weird. I have pictures on it on my phone, and I'll send them to you, Coop. I have your message
Okay,
now.
no,
It's got
I'm
like this
open-minded.
big,
I'll
it's
look
got
at
like this big
anything.
ring around it. It's just,
Not as
it's
open-minded as Genghis Khan. No, I'm open-minded. I no, I'll look at and I will look up this Operation Jackass or whatever you
What
called
do you
it.
propose? What do you think
Popeye.
is the if okay, if that's what you're seeing, but
Rich, I hope you're in the chat.
in all seriousness, like what is the net of like if that's what they're doing, what's the net effect that you're seeing?
That's always what you
Or
got to do. You got to
like
okay. So
in your area where you're seeing these things block out the sun are like
okay,
what's happening?
one of the beauties about the United States Army and one of the things that we're best at is it's what's called backwards planning. So you don't start with where you start. You start with what your objective and your end result's going to be, and then you plan backwards from that. Okay. So here's where we're going to be when we achieve our objective. So let's drop back. What's going to happen 30 minutes from then? What's going to happen an hour from then? What's going to happen 2 hours from then? So much more effective than going, well, where do we go from here? And how do we get there? Well, here's our objective. Here's what we want to achieve. I always ask myself that question on all this stuff. What is it that they are or I am trying to achieve in this? That's the most important question you can ask yourself in conspiracy theories. And then, or any theories or any operation, and go, well, what is the deal? It's not good enough to say, well, the government sucks and they're trying to, keep us. Do I believe that the government sucks right now quite a bit? Do I believe that there is it's not a conspiracy theory, it's a fact that there is a lot of trying to keep us under control and trying to do a lot of other stuff, because now we have access to all of the knowledge in the world on this fucking
Yeah.
thing right here
They
called
gotta
an
be freaking
iPhone.
out.
They're freaking out. And I get that. And that's why this stuff, in my opinion,
We're so
is
unpredictable now.
well, and it's not like when I was a kid or even when I was a young adult, you had to go to the card catalog or the Encyclopedia Britannica to learn something. Now you can learn whatever you want to, whether it's true or false, on this thing called a smartphone. The entire knowledge of the entire world is right there. So my whole thing about all of this stuff, and hey, some of it's real. I mean, I don't know that getting frogs are real, but I do think that I do think a lot of things are real. Do I think the government is suppressing a lot of information on purpose? Do I think that the current administration in particular is trying to keep us is it 1984 to a very certain extent? I do
Yeah.
believe that. There's no argument from me on that. And I never, Chris, I don't know if you agree with this, but I never, as a young man or a young adult or a young army officer, would have ever believed that. Did I believe that the government was sketch to a certain extent even back then and lied to us to a certain extent about stuff? Sure. But some lies are necessary
Here's the
to
thing.
for
I
national
want-
I think
security
that's
and to
I
keep
think that's
people
very
alive.
satisfying. I think it's very satisfying. I think
maybe a lady perspective. When you've been lied to, it's really, really hard because like everything that the person says that you know is lied to you, like every single thing, it's like, is that true? Is
Sure.
that true? Is that
Mhm.
true?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
if you've really been lied to, for me,
That's
it was by
legit.
doctors and men, obviously.
That's
But-
absolutely legit.
But with doctors specifically, like it made me start to question authority a little bit more and more and more and more. And maybe also like, I'm like, I come from also a crazy person. So like, there's some questions about things like that. Like I grew up learning like distrust and about the government and things of that nature.
I think the way out of that is to lay down solid bricks that are just unquestionable. And even if
like-
those bricks are not almost like if those bricks are kind of like just
It's really hard though,
You know,
because
yeah,
people
I
like
don't-
you are like so like you're in your minivan every day and you're like going to work and you're part of the system. And so it's really hard to hear that like fluoride's super fucking bad for your kids
no one's ever said
because
anything so nice about me like that.
everyone's like thinks fluoride is really good for their kids, but it's not. And like, oh, and then a study comes out like 10 years later and it says it's not like, but people like me that have been screaming, like, quit giving this to your children.
Well,
Crazy,
like
like a
I think we
crazy
have
lady.
to
And I do think like the spraying to cover the sun, just what I'm talking about, it's chemicals. They're spraying us with chemicals that are making cancer rates and asthma and allergies and all the things that make you go to the doctor because you're fucking sick. Like
I mean,
that's
do
the
they
goal.
need to spray us with chemicals when they're putting everything in the food though? It's
Yeah,
like
for the-
it's like why do they need
I
to
know,
spray
the
us with
devil.
chemicals when it's already in the food and we're saying
know.
please give me more
'Cause
chemicals
they're
in
spraying the
Like, they
food.
don't-
It's
that's
spraying
where I
all
kind
of
of get
it.
into like the
soil, they're
practicality.
ruining the soil. They're
Like that's where I get into like the practicality of all these things is that if I was a James Bond supervillain, I would
think
still
you
I would
are a James Bond super.
yeah, good. Yeah, I mean I'm close, but like I
I'm
would
a
still
fat
have
American James Bond, so
but if
beware.
I would still have like a sense of efficiency, which is like, hey, if they're letting me put poison in their food, I don't need to spend money on the space lasers to put poison in their like to spray poison in them. Like there's still an efficiency, like a rule of efficiency that rules the galaxy, whether
Because
you're
the government is
evil
so
or
efficient
what.
with their money, right? That's your experience with them.
Well, this goes
Exclusively? Is
beyond
that your
government, though.
experience?
This
Does
goes
it?
beyond.
The rulers, the higher class, let them
Oh
eat
yeah, I
cake. The
mean,
ones that are up there, I'm talking
You talk
about.
about the Rockefellers and like all the, but they weren't the government, like, or they were
You don't think
paying
that
it,
they're
but they were like,
controlling the government in any way, shape, or form?
right. Well, now, yes, but they are private citizens, like, so.
Sure. And they don't have any say over what happens in any of the things in
I'm
our.
not saying they don't. I'm just saying by definition, they're private citizens. They're not the president or the command, the Department of Defense officials or something. So
They will eat bugs and they'll
I
like
can,
it.
there's still a practicality to if your enemy is allowing you to crank up the heat little by little every day and they're happy and they're saying, I love you as you crank up the heat, why would you drop poison on them?
You tell me. Look at the
I'm
I can,
telling you, I
chaos it's
wouldn't.
causing.
I'm
It's
telling you, I
chaos.
wouldn't.
It's the chaos of all of it. Look at what's
backwards
Why do
happening
you
plan,
to the
backwards
assign
water.
plan,
these? Why do you
Because the
assign these crazy behaviors to the enemy?
backwards,
Like you,
backwards plan. What is the objective? Then backwards plan from there and see why, if any of those steps make sense. I will tell you that one, and it's not a conspiracy theory. I'll tell you one thing. Hopefully, Quana, you will just
gay
like
frogs.
you will
Yes.
gay frogs. One of the things that I completely know is true, and I've done the research, and Russ and I actually, well, I did an entire podcast, and he just kind of listened and went, you know how he gets.
I
He
had a
did that.
happy hour about pawpaws with Rich
Yeah,
tonight. Yes,
but
I understand.
yeah, no, the World Economic Forum is a real thing. Their
Thank
desire,
you.
their
Thank
desire
you.
to manipulate the world economy and
Yes.
be the ruling class and make ordinary citizens' life out of sheer result to have power
And
and
chaos.
the economic control. I Klaus, what's his name? Klaus.
Schwab.
I believe that he is an evil fucking guy. He might be the Antichrist. I really do. I
Think
believe
about Dorian Gray when you
I
think
have
about
done my
Klaus Schwab,
goddamn
though.
research. I've done
Think
my
about
goddamn research
Dorian
on it.
Gray, like the novel Dorian Gray,
How
right?
dare
Think
you?
about that.
How dare you? And I believe she's an evil little twat who's part of this conspiracy too, by the way.
Think about
Anyway,
it though.
Dorian Gray, no,
What if those people are that though? Like what if they have been like keep coming back and just more and more evil? Like it
could
just
be. It could be, but supporting Chris is, well, I think it was my point at first, and then Chris took it over and expanded it. But no, I think Chris and I
Juana's
agree.
wrong.
What is no, it's not that you're wrong. It's like, what's the objective? Here I see a clear objective. I see a clear objective. I see a clear outcome that benefits a certain group of people. The World Economic Forum. And Prince Charles was part of that. That fucking
Yep.
little homo that runs Canada is a huge part of that.
the
Barack
weird, don't you think
Obama is
the
part of it.
weird thing about the WAF is that you don't know these things because you're like a super sleuth. They print this stuff. They just
No, I
like
know.
they make
It's right out
videos
there.
of it.
That's
It's
part
like
of it though. They
it's
have
not
to
even a
put it out
conspiracy
there.
theory. It's
I
not
didn't have
even
no, it's not conspiracy theory. This is
yeah.
real shit.
You just have to read. You have to have the ability to read.
It freaks people out that it's so out there, but no one pays attention to it. But it's not a
Exactly.
conspiracy
Which is
theory at
bizarre.
all. So
Which
it's
is
like,
bizarre. And apparently my people, the Bavarians, started the Illuminati, and I think the Illuminati actually wanted good things in general for the world. I do, and like
by means of their
I'm
control, because
right. I think they thought they were smarter than everybody else, which they were. But
I think that's
but
a part of the human condition is for whether it happened a million years ago on Earth with humanoids or is happening now. Like that's the natural progression of the human condition is for some small group of humans to start thinking they know better.
well, like the
And
Justice League,
that's very normal.
like the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Justice
it's like
League.
we represent our heroes and our superheroes and all that. It's like, yeah.
Listen, I'm Batman. I'm smarter than all of you. I'm going to deal out justice. I mean, is that any different than that kind of thought? It really
Yeah.
isn't. Superheroes are all that way, right? I mean, the whole icon, the whole Jungian idea of the superhero and all that kind of thing, it goes with that, right? I mean, it's really the same thing psychologically. And so like the Illuminati or even the Knights Templar and the Rosicrucians and all this stuff, which the Knights Templar did exist. It's a historical fact. And the Rosicrucians were the direct outgrowth
What's the one that has the little thing like this? The little
the Masons.
Yes, I
The
think that that's a
Freemasons?
huge part of it, right?
And
The
they are the
Freemasons are a
descendants of
huge part of
they're
whatever's
they are the
happening. The
descendants of that.
Freemasons are a huge part of this
Did
whole
we
thing.
alienate all of your listeners, Chris, in this
I don't
conversation?
think so.
Oh,
I
okay.
Yeah.
don't think so.
That was
Like
not my
6
point.
of them are my friends and they want to hear this shit. They're like,
I know
let's
you guys
go.
wanted to talk politics and all
No,
that.
this is exactly what I want to be talking about right now. This is perfect.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to know that I didn't fuck your podcast. Being invited on and all that stuff is a pleasure. So I just didn't want to be
I mean,
disrespectful.
in a lot of ways, not to sound like it, but we do this for us. We hope
Yeah.
everybody enjoys it, but we do this for us. Like we really love talking to each other, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
a real escape, like for me.
Your
Like
ca-
I,
is
I
this
don't
kind
get
of
to
your
like get my
catharsis?
thoughts out a lot. Like my thoughts are kind of shot down in my daily life. So I love like Friday
Sure,
night. I
sure.
just get to be like
you like having them shot down
my
on Friday night.
yeah, live on,
Yeah,
on
I shot
YouTube
down by
for the
two
world
by
to
two.
see.
I shot down by two alpha
that's not
males.
fair.
One a little less alpha than the other.
Yeah.
It's okay, Coop. I know
No,
you're getting
I'm
up there.
I'm totally fucking with you. You know that. No, no, that's why I love conversations like this, is because yeah, I've been exposed to a lot of stuff and I have different experiences, but it's why I love conversations like this, because I learn a lot in these conversations, at least about how people think and where they're coming from. And I really enjoy that.
Me
I'm a
too.
student of Jungian philosophy. I don't think anybody got it any more right than Freud did, to be quite honest with you, as far as it goes, because I have gone through every part of psychotherapy and psychoanalysis that you can possibly get. And I kind of got it right as far as human nature and all that stuff. But then it's fascinating to me that where we've gotten in to turn it back to politics a little bit, and what you were saying earlier, Chris, kind of inspired this thought, was how have we gotten so far the fuck off the grid that we have people that clearly know what they're saying is factually and empirically incorrect, but they'll double, triple, quadruple down, and they will die on that sword, regardless of the fact that they know they're wrong. Listen, I'm wrong at least 2, 3 times a year. And when I am, I admit it. But no, I love to learn. I love to go, oh, I never thought of it that way. Or that is a
Yeah,
view that I wouldn't have considered based on my experience. And I've had a very unique and complicated experience. But
it
it's
is
really
hard to
cool,
understand
you know?
like how like we all grew up with a friend that like told a bunch of bullshit stories and whatever, but it's like we are being gaslit. I know it's like a
Mhm.
cliche, but
No, you're right.
we need to invent new words or bring words from the past to modern times to highlight how big the lies are. And again, I just go right to like the Soviet stuff, man. Like
Yeah.
the Soviets, like I was told that they lied to their people all the time, like that they would tell their people there's plenty of bread, even though there's not a bread on the shelves, and they would just lie,
Well, that's what propaganda is. It's meant to
you
just,
know?
it's meant to make this happen. And when Barack Obama signed that into order that this was legal to do to United States citizens, this is the
Yeah, the
chaos that
propagandizing
you
them.
get.
But like
It's horrible.
propagandizing the Japanese to make them think we're gonna, like we got like super weapons or I'm good with that. But it's like,
Or the
gaslighting your own
American people to think that
people.
there's Western weapons of mass destruction. Told us
Yeah.
that too. We believed it. I mean,
The Japanese people in World War II had no idea that they were losing the Pacific War. They had no idea until a nuclear bomb took out a whole bunch of them. They had no
Well, that's
idea.
part of it too, is like in a whole other area of the world at that point in the 1940s, there was a whole other
Hi, sweetie.
country with people that spoke a different language, and their
My dog,
leaders
not
were
a girlfriend.
gaslighting them just the same.
Yep.
Like in 1940s Japan, in a whole other language, that a whole different kind of clothing and all that kind of stuff, a whole different culture. Like their leaders were just gaslighting the hell out of their people, telling them that the Americans are going to eat their children, so they'd throw their children off a cliff. I think there's a
Nuts.
couple.
Is your Asian heritage Japanese? I can't remember, Chris.
I'm Korean.
You're Korean. Okay. Okay. My
But
apologies. I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember.
But
defend
to
your
your
liquor store, Asian.
question, yes, because like I think Japan in modern times, like as far as like yeah, my ancestors go back.
Rooftops.
Like Korea was kind of a punching bag of Japan and China
Sure,
at the
sure,
time. So it's
absolutely.
like, so I'd say the answer is kind of both because my stepmother, my dad was a Korean immigrant. Um,
Okay.
Story for another show, but like
Hey, baby. Hi.
my stepmother was Korean, but she had an affinity for the Japanese.
Oh, like their food, their culture, their
Their
dance, music.
culture, well, I'll be honest, their dominance
Oh,
because they were seen as like if you lived in the middle of Pennsylvania, that was Korea, and New York City, that's Japan.
okay.
So there was like an admiration for their,
All their glitz
yeah,
and
maybe
glamour.
and again, I really don't know enough, but like
Okay.
maybe kind of like they were our enslavers for a little, like they were kind of kicking us around for a while, so a little
Okay.
Stockholm syndrome kind of thing.
Been there, done that.
I'm probably talking out of my ass, but I think there was a weirdness, I thought, because I knew the history of Japan and Korea, and Korea was not the major player. They were just getting, ping ponged around.
Yeah.
That's a pun. That's an Asian pun, ping ponged.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. So they weren't really like, so
Well
my
played.
understanding of the
Well
Korean
played. That's another
culture,
pun. Get it?
my my understanding of the Korean culture was that it really was not in recent times, the last couple hundred years, not in control of their own destiny.
As
So
a military historian, at least, I would agree with that 100%. Your assessment of that. I think it makes Korea a really interesting country, though, even more interesting than China and Japan. And my respect for the Korean people, especially since my very first martial art was uh Gamsa Hatmi Sabam. Um, I got to know the Korean culture quite a bit, being in the army and stuff like that, and my respect for the Korean culture is immense. I mean, it's forgive me for saying, well, I don't need to ask you for your forgiveness, but please understand my analogy. You guys are like the Jews of the Asian continent.
yeah, it's fair.
I mean, and I
That's
mean
good.
that
I've never heard that
respectfully.
before, but instantly
I
fair.
mean, I
Yeah.
mean that respectfully. I really mean that respectfully, and that, um, it's like
Outnumbered, surrounded by
outnumbered,
people that are
surrounded by
stronger all the
enemies,
time. That,
stronger.
yeah.
I think a superior culture to either of those two countries in a lot of ways. I do. Um, and okay, so the Americans have been there forever and a day since 1949 and the breakout of the Korean War and all that stuff. But it's not the Americans that make the Koreans strong. The Koreans were strong all by themselves. It's just the Americans that went, hey, do you think Israel would exist if it wasn't for the Americans and the British? So I mean, there's a lot of parallels. You know what I mean?
Koreans have strong calf muscles. Just to bring it back to our ad and corollary,
I've
it's like
I've I've
they're
never
for
had
real.
sex.
Like,
I've never had sex with a Korean woman, so I would not know that.
Me either.
all Koreans, like, yeah, got
Damn it.
strong, like we're
Damn it,
workers.
Kwana.
Like,
I
yeah,
wanted to
there's like a
picture that in my
toughness.
mind.
Yeah, you're right. There's a certain toughness and bulldoggedness that comes out of that, which is like, you know, I don't know.
No, there
There's probably parts of like the Ukraine area where it's just like they never know like century to century who's going to be in charge of them. Like,
Yeah.
no, they don't.
so yeah, there's a
You
lot of
can you can
similarities.
you can contrast that with the American culture too, that where I mean it's been a very short time that we've been the fucking badasses of the world, but we're such the badasses of the world for a long time now into
Yeah,
technology that we become weak by that very nature.
we were like,
Culturally,
yeah, I guess
it's been too easy. It's been too easy in some ways for us, I
well, we
think.
were kicking ass and but we just got out of college. We were dominating the college ball. You know what I mean? We just got in the pros. Like, and now it's like
Right.
we're up against China and like a lot of serious players that don't really care what we think of ourselves. Like, we can think that we can believe in manifest destiny so far, but it's like they're just like we don't really fucking give a shit about that. Like, we got manifest destinies too, bitch. Like, we're gonna be on the yen. Like, we're gonna be on the, what is it? The bricks.
The
Ugh.
bricks.
Don't get
The
me
bricks
started on the
where,
bricks.
yeah,
It's
where
9 o'clock. I gotta go to bed.
yeah, they're just like, we're just, yeah, you can have all the manifest destiny you want, but no one's going to be using the dollar anymore in 50 years.
Yeah, no, it's true.
You can-
months, bro.
You can
Like
wipe
I
your
said-
ass with that manifest destiny at that point.
like I said during the what do you guys call it, the get together or the free for all or whatever it is, the toga party that we did before the
Happy hour.
actual
It's
Oh,
called
the
podcast.
happy
happy
hour?
hour. It's a very
Happy hour, I'm
common
sorry.
phrase. They say it on
Toga
Friday a
implies there
lot.
was clothing involved.
I haven't been doing an actual happy hour in years, so I don't even remember what those are like. But it's we're not going to revert back. It's going to take a generational change before America looks like something that it was supposed to look like, or it looked like under Reagan or in the 1940s and 50s. It's going to take a generational change.
It's going to take hard times. I think it's going to take.
I
Like
think so
there's
too.
there's no
Invasion.
way we'll never fix this if we are allowed to continue to print money. Like at some point, people are going to need to starve to death for it to get fixed. That's horrible to say, but it's like
coming.
this Ponzi scheme. At some point, the Ponzi scheme, somebody's got to get burned. Now I got to trust our politicians to make sure it's not us. I think. And honestly, like, I think our politicians love their jobs and their positions in life so much that
They're not supposed to be jobs. They're not supposed to be jobs.
I
It's
know,
supposed
but
to
like
be service. It's supposed
I
to be
know.
service.
I know,
It's supposed
but
to be like a
they're
charity service. That's the problem. Is you have people like Joe Biden. That's all
Nancy
he's ever
Pelosi.
fucking done. Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, there's a million examples, and there's examples on the right too. But it happens so much more on the left. And I've actually done the research on this, and it's just like looking at people who've done their entire career. Barack Obama was absolutely nothing until he became a senator and then the president of the United States. Nothing. He didn't do shit.
Yeah.
He never had a private sector job in his entire life. He
it's
could
bigger
just say,
than an NFL
"Hey,
contract.
look, I'm
That's
wearing a
huge.
polo shirt and I'm a black guy, and I can say, hey guys, how you doing?" He was effective at communicating. He was effective at communicating. Reaching out to people who were like, "Oh, cool." That
Can't wait
was
till
a
the
skill.
tapes of him at the Diddy party come out.
It's not going to happen. Hillary will make sure of that.
Yeah. All right.
I do think on that whole thing, we're going to be unsatisfied. My threshold for satisfaction.
Faction.
What's the satisfaction? I was going to say
Dang it,
satisfaction.
no.
I'm sorry. It's now satisfaction. Is what I'm
Okay.
going to change it.
You go, bitch. Get it.
Would be never apologize for my mistakes. My satisfaction on this is lowered to where if they just get shunned from society and like there's just nonstop mockery of these people, that's kind of where I'll be okay if that's it. Now, if Diddy goes to jail for life or if he gets Epsteined, great. But it's like my satisfaction would be like, can we just not hear from these people anymore? Can we just not hear from Diddy to go get out the vote?
Every comment section on every Diddy video on TikTok says, "I'm suing Diddy for fucking making me have to learn all this shit." Because there's,
Yes.
Karl Malone. There's a Karl Malone. Do you know who Karl Malone is? No, not Karl Malone.
Of course.
Not the basketball player. The Family Matters. The dad from Family Matters.
Reginald.
But his name on the show, I think, is Karl Malone.
Okay. Is it really? I didn't know that. That's crazy.
So there's one of Diddy's bodyguards heard Diddy tearing up some whatever and kind of took a peep in, and it was the dad from Family Matters in the full outfit. This is all over TikTok, and this is why people want to sue Diddy. Class action for having to learn this stuff, like complete childhoods wiped out.
That's that whole thing is antichrist level bullshit. And I am a man of faith. I am a man of I don't always talk like it, but I am a man of faith. I'm a man of scripture knowledge. I'm getting my PhD in theology through liberty. And
Nice.
Reiki master.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know. I'm complicated, but I love me a sandal wearing Jew most of all. But I am a man of faith, and this is straight antichrist bullshit that's going on the left there with P. Diddy and
Hillary Clinton.
the Surprise Island and the Clintons and all that stuff. I'm sorry, it's straight antichrist bullshit. It really is.
Well, in the early days of Christianity, it's like it reminds me of what I think about early days of Christianity, the New Testament, which is a lot of it is letters that Paul, other disciples were writing to friends, other disciples in cities, whether it's whatever,
Yeah, Corinthians and
Corinthians or
yeah.
and like the kind of stuff they're doing is kind of what the Bible says they were all doing back then, and what the early Christians were up against. They were basically
Yep.
like because the religion of the day in those times, and let's say Ephesus, you know, yeah, that Ephesians is the book. Ephesians is
Ephesians,
like
yeah.
the
Sacrifice
town,
that
like
white cow.
like in
Shit
that
was gonna go down.
yeah, in that town, like what he was trying, like as a salesperson,
Ephesians, Philippians,
I'm a
Colossians.
salesperson. I'm a salesperson, so you have to like realize what you're selling and like what your audience is. Like they were selling a life of a Christ-like life to people whose religion at that time was, if I ever feel guilt, what I do to relieve that guilt is I go to the chapel or the temple and I put a couple shekels in the tray and I go bang some hookers. Like that was like religion was like what P. Diddy is doing. Like pay your money, do some even more wicked stuff, and you'll feel better. And it does. And so my point is like, that's what they were, that's like the wickedness that they were up against. And the people that were doing those wicked things were like, yeah, this is bad. As soon as someone told them like, you shouldn't be doing these things, these are bad things. Anyway, I'm kind of lost, but like what they're describing is like what they were doing back then. So it's like
Kamala
Yeah.
says, what
That's
is
food for thought.
before that has been, however she said it.
oh, Diddy is burdened by what has been. He's not unburdened. He's burdened. He's burdened. Oh, he's got a full ass of burden. Yeah.
Ass packed full of burden.
Oh my God.
Impacted ass
damn.
of burden. He
Happy
is
Friday.
definitely
Thanks for
not-
joining us, Coop. We
Definitely not
appreciate it.
unburdened.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
thanks for
It was,
going.
Fun conversation. Super fun conversation.
it was such an honor. I'm sorry if I got you guys sidetracked off your list and stuff like
I
that.
love that you
I think
went
it worked
right
out
into
great.
the World Economic Forum. I want to high five you so hard.
I think it's
Well,
great. And
there's-
that's great because we got a lot of meat on the bone for when Russ is around. Because we want to talk about the military and recruitment and like the
Right.
demographics that make up the military and like
Yeah.
what that means, what it's been. Is it different now? What it means for the future? Be a really good.
What has
we
been.
left a lot of meat on that bone.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. And Russ and I talked last night before our podcast got released. We did our podcast yesterday, or I'm sorry, day before yesterday. Is that right? Yeah, we did it Thursday, and then I released it.
That was just yesterday.
Was it just yesterday? Today's
Yesterday.
Friday.
Yesterday, all my troubles
seemed so far away. They
Singing
don't. My
karaoke
troubles
tomorrow.
don't. My
What were you
troubles
talking
don't
about?
seem far away at all. They seem.
Oh,
like
they're right behind you, man. I see them.
Yeah, mine are here in the room.
But let's do a crossover, and we can take some of these subjects up a little bit and get nerdy ass fucking statistical Russ out of his pocket.
I'm
a
gonna
little
bring
bit.
Operation Popeye and MK Ultra
and-
right to the front
Yes,
of the
yeah. I mean, I really like.
I know
would really like to
about
get
MK
you guys'
Ultra.
take on it.
I've actually talked to two of the people that were supposedly part of MK Ultra.
Great.
I have.
So if you believe that the government is capable of that, you should be able to believe that they're capable of anything. And we'll end it on that.
The jury's out with me on that one.
Let's end it on her making her point. Yes.
I am not a hey.
Finally,
for the record,
it's the only time. It's been 3 weeks.
For the record, before we
I'm
get
the best
off,
looking man on earth. Let's end it with that.
For the record, before we get off, I just want everybody to know I'm not a government shill at all. I'm a very logical person, and I know the government's full of shady shit. I also think that the United States government's done some amazing things based on the people that work for it.
And the best country in the world.
Hell yeah.
God bless
That's
America.
All. That's where I'm coming from.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. I guess.
To the Endless Ranters podcast tonight. Really.
Get it on, motherfuckers.
Yeah, man, you're awesome.
Hey, love you guys. Love you guys.
Too,
great
man.
conversation. I had a great time with you guys. Thank you. It was an
Always.
honor. It was an honor. It really was.
Same,
Thank
man.
you so much.
Hey, also, everybody, Two Grumpy Bastards podcast.
Yes.
I was meant to say, like, I'm gonna start having my son. I want my son to listen to your podcast, even though you
Yes.
guys
I cuss a lot though.
It's okay.
Well, so do I.
Yeah.
He plays
Okay.
football. He plays football.
All right.
But
I was gonna say,
but
I cuss
because
a
I
lot.
like the way you guys are describing like your year by year like service and like your assignments, that's very I've never experienced anybody talking like about that kind of stuff before. So
Oh, that's cool. That just came out of nowhere. It was something I decided to do because I thought it'd be fun. Started doing it
Good.
about 10, 12 podcasts ago, and
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun. So
well,
I appreciate that.
specifically like when you were like 21 and you decided to get into the military, like those types of things, like
Right.
really good. So all right.
Right.
Have a great weekend.
Love you guys, man. Thank you so
You
much
too,
for
man.
having
Love
me
you.
on.
Have a great say
And-
hello to your
and-
dogs for me.
Oh God, I maybe Huckleberry died. I haven't seen him in a while.
No,
hope
not
not.
tonight.
No,
Okay,
he's not.
y'all. Bye.
Yeah,
He's
see ya.
not gonna die tonight.